Welcome, Wolfpack. Welcome. Good luck, everyone. It's Friday the 13th. Oh, man. Let me know live in the chat what you've had happen to you today. Friday the 13th. It's Drew here on the Secret Prepper channel. You know how we roll. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. It's Christmas time. It's Campfire Catch-up with your boy Drew, chatting about everything survival and prepping. Catching up with you, all of our friends here in the Wolfpack, and live guests as well. We've got live guests calling tonight. We've got all sorts going on. We'll have a global threat analysis as well coming up. So loads to do, loads to get through. Bunch of videos as well. But I have had a major disaster getting set up. But don't worry about it. You know me. We always wing it. We adapt and survive. It's a Wolfpack thing, right? It's all about the flow. Got to flow around these things, right? And I tell you what, I just had a major tea spillage in the house. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Ching. Cheers. Love, peace, and progress to the pack. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here on a Friday night, despite how unlucky it may be, the 13th. So, yes, I just had major spillages just before setting the countdown and going live. And I came in with a cup of tea, and I already had a cup of tea here, so I needed to have it fresh in my favoritist, poshest mug. Don't forget, Secret Prepper merch available. Link in description. That's a 20-ounce mega mug. I only lost a splash out of it, but it was enough to go over a bunch of electronics, right? So I had to quickly try and mop it up with some wet wipes and stuff and some paper towels. This one of my prototyping circuits here. All this area here had tea in these holes. Yeah. You can see on the back where it's... I don't even want to look at it. I've blown into the circuit board holes to try and get the tea out. And it got a little bit into my wireless transmitter module that I've been developing as well. All around here with some tea. And again, you can see on the back the damp mark on my circuit boards there. For those that don't know, I prototype engineer for survival gear and all sorts of stuff like that. So, and I've just been mopping the floor as well. It's been an absolute disaster. I'm sorry, I'm not looking for any sympathy or anything like that, but I'm just trying to highlight this because this isn't a usual occurrence. I'm extremely well hand-to-eye coordinated. You know, I fly model helicopters, model planes since I was about 12. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm a precision engineer and things, a prototyping engineer, tiny circuits like that. Do you know what I mean? So for me to spill a cup of tea, I don't mean to sound funny, but it's very unusual. So Friday the 13th, for me, this is one of the things. The other thing, what was the other thing that happened today? Let us know live in the chat if you've had anything happen to you today already. Don't forget, we do also have a live poll rocking for you. So please do vote in that, as per usual, over on the community server, the Discord community server for Secret Prepper. Spent a long time building this, and everyone's been great getting it totally ram-packed full of good stuff. Moonga was our most recent joiner. It's free to join, so get yourself over there. So tonight's poll that you'll see live if you're in the chat with us, when you'll be presented with it, is which of these bad omens would make you reconsider an important decision? So if you felt like there was something going on, you're going to buy a new car or choose a new house or something like that, or click submit on the shopping cart button for your holiday or whatever it is, your vacation. Would any of these things make you feel like maybe it was a wrong decision to make and there's something trying to tell you that? So, or it was an unlucky time to do it. So either a broken mirror, walking under a ladder, Friday 13th, or none of them, I make my own fate. So this will be interesting. So let us know live in the poll tonight how you're feeling about that. Of course, this is the video you're watching right now. And yeah, so we've got the animal lovers as well section, so people can share their loved ones. I built this room specifically because you've got no idea how many preppers I talk to. And they've got all the gear and no idea. And on top of that, they've got nothing for their pets in terms of food and stuff, right? So I want to remind people that to remember our loved ones as well. But don't be an animal lover, as the prepping profile type goes, which is where you're spending more money on your pets than on anyone else. But we should have Hugo Bear in later on. I've got the Hugo Bear camera set up, look. But with my scurrying around, with the tea spillage. It's been a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, we will be looking at having some calling guests. And I'm hoping UK Urban Prepper's first on the list if he's about. Talking about if he's about. Now you voted in the live poll, I shall have a look through and see who we have with us live. So it looks like Robert was the first in the house. Great to see you, my man. VIP Patreon member. How is everyone? It's Fine Friday. Has it been a fine Friday for you, Robert? Anything happened? Anything Friday 13th-ish? Let me know. Pedigree Mongrel in the house. I think we may have to make our own fate or else we will have no free will in it. And hoping you're feeling a bit better, Pedigree Mongrel. Last week he said he was suffering a little bit from man flu, which, as I did explain and reiterate to people who aren't aware, those of the opposite sex or those in betweeners, man flu is the equivalent. It's more than around 4 to 5 times the pain and discomfort of childbirth, right? So women out there, if you've ever wondered what man flu's like, it's about 4 to 5 times more painful than childbirth. So bear that in mind when you're paying some, health vibes and some commiseration vibes out to Pedigree Mongrel with a man flu. Let me know if you're feeling better. Right. Oh, I should have just read the next one first. It's still on recovering mode from this flu. Whatever the hell it is thing has been killing me off the last few days. Oh, man. I hope you start feeling sprite and fit soon. Great to see you, Sandy. Miss Worm in the house as well. Good to see you got yourself fixed up on the Discord server. Good to see you back in the house. So go and make yourself, go and contribute or learn whatever you want to do over there. Sapper Prepper UK, one of our most recentest VIP Patreon members. Thank you for being part of the Wolf Pack. Howdy all, special hi to Sigma Prepper, Dreamer Man in the house whoosh, with gang signs and the letter K. Hey, Daily Survival, moderator of all moderators, chief of security in the house. Sandy Hawkins, great to see you, Hawkins. Great to see you. The Green Manalash, good to see you again. Who else we got? Got to speed through. We got Emma as well because we got to get into the global threat analysis, of which I only just finished doing the commodities prices and things, which I do manually. So I'm cool like that. But I put them in manually, right? And so I was putting them in as it was counting down to like 10. Oh, and I hit save button as I heard the words in my lyrics in the tune. When it's like, a countdown's done, it's time to go. Sigma Preppers Live, let's start this show. It was then that I was just finishing up the writing the show, basically. Spiritual being, hi to all. I bet I know, if you're a spiritual being, I bet I already know how you voted in the live poll tonight, which we've got rocking for you. Look at that, is that Sapper Prepper with the first super chat of the night. Whoosh, whoosh. Thank you very much, really appreciate it, and thank you. It should be popping up here soon. I don't know if it will be running live now. That must be before we went live. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Let me give that a like. Thank you so much, Sapper Prepper. Emma in the house. Also, thank you to Liz. Really appreciate Liz becoming newest subscriber. So thank you to everyone thanking Sapper Prepper for the super sheets. So the other thing as well is I've got memberships ready to rock and roll. I just need to do my first post on the community tab. So we've got that coming as well for those people that would rather do that than Patreon. But I'm setting up the tiers on the membership so that people on the middle tier and upwards middle and top tier will be able to have all the same access to the behind the scenes videos, of which I'm starting back with this week after the weekend. The behind the scenes videos, the members only videos, so the members will get those as well as the Patreon. So you'll be sort of like benefiting from that as well. So Paul C in the house, one of our newest Ultimate Hotspot customers. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm glad. Thank you for letting us know it arrived safely. I think I've got one here. And again, Adrian should have his hotspot arrive today. This is what it looks like. It comes in a nice box and a velvet bag, but it's essentially a leather Faraday bag, and inside you've got a Raspberry Pi wireless access point module. Whoop. Yeah. And so that's got a Raspberry Pi computer in it and a 256 gigabyte memory card with all loads of survival information, Wikipedia, searchable. It's like the internet while you're offline and there's no grid and there's no internet. So Adrian should have his today, sent out yesterday, next day, super priority, signed for, tracked and insured, like you do. So thank you everyone, I really appreciate you. Well, there he is, Saw the Devil UK Urban Prepper ass. Didn't get to see your show. I was in the shower, but I'll try and catch up later on. I know Mrs. Sigma Prepper Magic Hand was watching your show, Mike. So I hope it went well over there. Ian Palmer's with us as well. Pat Riot, great to see you, my man. VIP patron in the house. Cypher the Cypher. Truck through a code finally. Oh, like it. Anonymity, evening. I'm trying to speed through. I don't want to miss anyone because I know, you know, it's just going to end in tears. Techno is the devil's music, is it? Wom, 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 wom. Thank you. What are we doing? Speeding through. Rue getting on with it. Good evening, everyone. I'm still very unwell, but I had to turn up here. I won't be chatting, but reading on my TV. Oh, thanks. Great to have you with us. Shame to miss out, and again tonight's kind of like a friendly talk of show of the week. We're sort of looking at what's been going on during the week, looking at what we think is going to be going on next week, and having guests chatting about stuff and various other bits and pieces, talking survival, prepping, as we usually do. We get into all sorts of topics, but they're generally all connected to the bigger picture. Jeff, walk in the house, take care of your fire, mate. Might get out of control in the woods there. Don't worry, man, we got stones surrounding it. Look, we're totally stoned up, bruh. We're stoned up. Yeah. Oh man, thank you everyone for being with us. Right, so I reckon we should just bust straight into it without any more messing about, cause we got so much to get through on the show. Let me just make sure I did actually finish, and I did actually finish hitting save. I did. Right, we're safe. Let's get into it. So, global threat analysis. Let's do it. Friday 13th. See if anything unlucky's been happening today. Thank you everyone. Hit the like button. Buckle up, people. Buckle up. Right. Let's see what's going on. It's Friday, so usually nothing. It usually goes quiet on a Friday because the mainstream knows that people aren't bothered and they're too busy doing stuff instead. But we're going to have a look through and just go through the main stuff so we can feel we've done it. We've also got some memes as well, so check out some memes. Thank you to those that sent them in. I've had a few sitting there for a while that we need to chew through. Also, thank you to everybody who showed up for the Warzone Wednesday. It was a great show. How do we survive World War III? Episode number 3, that was just gone. If you did miss it, it is linked in the description below. It was pretty ram-packed. We're talking about all the different... similar to the week before, I just covered over all the different types of warfare. 5th dimensional, 4th dimensional, and conventional warfare, and everything in between. And then this show was specifically about drone warfare, which is part of the 5th dimensional warfare tactics. So that was what we talked about at length on Wednesday. It's an interesting one. It's buzzing in the news at the moment, no pun intended, with all the UAPs and things that are going on around the world, and particularly in the West. So go and watch that after this show if you haven't seen it. People are saying it's a great one, so thank you everyone who joined in for that live. And of course, this Wednesday coming again, Warzone Wednesday, 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern time is when you'll catch it live. So what we're going to do then is have a little look through at the mainstream, see what Guam. Like I say, it's not usually much. No one gets France difficulty more than me, says Macron. New PM by Rue. Xi Jinping not expected to attend Trump inauguration. Probably somewhat of a security risk. Jubilant Syrians crowd squares for victory rallies. You know, just back to this one. China typically likes to remain pretty unbiased, you know what I mean? They tend to be... They don't like to take sides in many things, you know, they kind of keep themselves to themselves, hence the Wall of China. But then again, when you look into it, it looks like the Wall of China was built to defend the other side of China, which would have been, what do you call it? I was going to say Tasmania. No, I'm talking about... Sandy and Chrissy will know what I'm talking about. Live in the chat. Why can't I think of the name of it? This is Friday the 13th stuff. But basically, when you look at the Wall of China, it looks like it was built not by China, but by the other side, trying to defend from China. Yeah? When you look at the turrets where you would shoot out from, it's on the other side. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that before, but you should look into it. Tartaria just came to mind. So Tartaria was the country the other side. If you don't know about Tartaria, there's a massive rabbit hole there to go down. Anyway, jubilant Syrians crowd. Yeah, so China don't really like to get in amongst it, which is why they've not really had a war forever. But equally, if they were to turn up to Trump's inauguration, then it would look like it was choosing sides, because Xi Jinping didn't turn up to Obama's, he didn't turn up to Joe Biden's, he didn't turn up to Bill Clinton's. You know what I mean? So once you start doing it to one, it's just not a good look, you know? Prince Andrew says he ceased all contact with alleged Chinese spy. That's all rocking about as well at the moment. What's next for Assad and his family? So of course that's all kicking off as well in Syria. Right, exactly by the plan in terms of destabilizing the place, because it's a great ally of Russia and it's in the way of the pipeline, let's just say. There's a pipeline that the EU needs to run from the Middle East through to Europe, and basically Syria's in the way. And for many, many years they've been wanting to go through Syria, this pipeline, but it's actually lots of historic buildings and you know, ancient churches and things that are proposed to be knocked down to make way for a ghastly pipeline. If you've got a choice between ancient churches and things like this in somewhere like Syria or a pipeline, it just... and of course Assad's been saying, no, we don't want a pipeline, we don't want a pipeline, and the whole time the West has been saying wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer. And so it looks like finally the West has got his way, and they've managed to find a way to get him out. So the next thing to expect is that pipeline getting put through Syria, and all of those historic churches being wiped out and knocked down and flattened to make way for the pipeline. So this has been going around on the interwebs today quite a lot. It's been trending, which is essentially... oh, thank you, Sandy. All the twos. Thank you so very much, my darling. Love to you. Really appreciate your support. Yeah, so this is the happy twos. We need all the luck than my lucky twos, because I see twos everywhere for ages. I still do. It's just become a thing. So thank you, Sandy. But we need all the good luck twos I can get with the Friday the 13th with tea spillages and stuff. And they come in threes. I've had two already. Oh yeah, the other thing as well is I had like a license expiry thing on one of my plugins for my professional video editing suite. And I went on to the support forum and everyone's got the same problem, and it's because it's just upgraded to the new 2025 version of the software. So I can't even use my software. I've got a whole video I was in the middle of doing that I need to use my plugins for. So there's been a few things. There was something else as well. There was something else anyway. But anyway, this is bad news. So this is a plane basically coming in for an emergency landing. You see there's no landing gear down. Popped it out now, look, and I'm not sure. There were some injuries, but you can see in the intersection here is where it's ended up, right? And it's basically carnage. Look at the state of it. It's just debris everywhere, look. Bad news. And you can see the other cars that were involved in it. You can see the engine's just ripped off the front there, look. Sorry, it is a twin engine, yeah, so one of the engines there ripped off the wing. So yeah, not a good look. Let's have a look. 4 people, including the pilot, were injured and taken to hospital. Okay, cool. So not cool they were injured, but cool we would know in the first line if it was, you know, fatality. So I'm really pleased. Debris from the aircraft damaged 3 vehicles on the road. It's not clear what caused the accident. Perhaps it was the plane landing on the highway. What? Debris from... It's not clear what caused the accident. Didn't we just watch what caused it? A plane landed on the motorway rather than a runway. Anyway, so let's have a look at the watchers. See what's going on with the weather events and ting. Tropical cyclone Cheeto hits Agaliga as the strongest in over 50 years. Heads towards Mayotte and Mozambique. We'll just pop that open quickly so we can get our bearings with it. See what it's going to mean. 138 mile an hour. Gusts. Look, 222. I just got to say something on that right now. Do you know there's a massive thing at the moment with matey boy Linguini? Do you know who I'm talking about? Is it Linguini? The guy who took out the CEO of the insurance company, the health insurance company. Man. Let me know if you know all about that, right? Because this is the dude who took out the old, you know, CEO with a popo. With a pew-pew, sorry, not a popo. The popo came afterwards. But it was there was loads of dodge stuff about it, right? I mean, things like just the thing that he used was very specific, you know. It's quite difficult. You can't buy those sorts of suppressors and things off the shelf. They're sort of super unique. It was a constant racking system as well, which isn't usual. This is a pro job, right? And I tell you what, there's so much numerology embedded in all that with a 286, I think it is. I think it's 286. Everything is embedded in it. Or is it 268? I think it might be 268. But everything about that story, the headlines, it was like 268 kilometers from here, and the guy was 26, and he had been doing something for 8 years. They do it like that, right? And everything about it, you know, in terms of when you look into Gematria, if you know what that is, right? It's like a form of numerology. Anyway. It's too... You'd have to be a coincidence theorist to think that it was... I mean, not to mention the fact that a certain individual in American... Very, 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 very high up in American government, let's just say, was about to be testified against as a witness by this same person who got taken out. Because, of course, that's a coincidence as well, right? Super convenient. Lich, the next day, I think this dude was supposed to be testifying. Just so you know. Let's check out earthquakes and see what Guam in earthquake land. 39 on the map, so somewhat more than average, but nothing major. A few scattered around inner North America there. Space weather, pretty calm. Nothing major. We had these M-class solar flares yesterday and today. And the day before, but none of them are earth facing. Look, you can see this one's turning out over the limb here, so that's moving away. There was an M6.7 off that one, but that'll be gone by the time it comes back round again in 28 days. Don't forget, it takes the sun to rotate. You can see there are some sunspots there on the visible disk. Look, this is the earth facing visible disk. 39.24. In a couple of days that'll be more earth facing, but it's not particularly active anyway, so no. You got this beta gamma delta here, BGD, look, this 3917, yeah, so this 3917 over this side, that's turning out as well. So yeah, nothing major to worry about. We've got to wait till the end of the month until we can see. There's a little bit on the Enlil spiral here. Heading towards Earth, obviously. Look, boom, here, bosh. So top left there is the looking down on the solar system. The green one is Earth, and the yellow one in the middle is the sun. So you can see it emanating the solar flare. Woo. And then it hits Earth. Here. Boom, up at top. Right. So that's when the plasma density cloud, you know, it's a dense plasma cloud that goes whoomp. So this is a prediction, but nothing major. And the speed of it is nothing. It's like 450 kilometers a second. That's kilometers a second, not an hour. They can go up to like 1600 kilometers a second if they're gnarly X-class solar flares that are going to do some damage. So we certainly don't need to seem to worry about that too badly. Let us know live in the chat if there's any news going on near you you'd like to talk about. There's Sandy's super chat again. Thank you so very much. Only just been monetized. It's taken 3 years to get this channel to monetization because it's been held back so badly. So I've got some catching up to do from a financial point of view because I've been on less than fumes for so long. I've got to, we got to try and dig us out of a hole so we can keep going. So thank you so much to people like Sandy and again, Della last week for the super chats. Really appreciate you, my lovely. Ancient Churches should win every time, says Supper Prepper UK, 100%. Looks like Piper Twin, says Wild Medic. Great to have you with us, Wild Medic. It's good to have you over on the Warzone Wednesday with us the other day. Tracy J, good to see you, Tracy. Didn't see you for a couple of nights. Put a V in front of the word accident, and that's probable cause. Small plane been going down USA the last couple of years. Interesting. Linguine mascarpone, is it, John? You know the one I want about, the mascarpone saucelet. Yeah, it's all on now. I've got a 22 suppressor somewhere. Yeah, this thing's very different if you look at the actual thing that was used. It was like a professional thing. And the suppressor that comes with that is about the closest. It's more like you see on the movies. Because people think that it sounds like it does on the movies when you see like Hitmen type films, you know? And it's like choo choo. That's the sound of it. That's not real in real life, but this thing this dude was using is about as close as you get to real life, and it's not a mainstream thing. It's not something you just pick up on a shelf somewhere. This is like special. I'm just saying, Amphere. Catch you later, Sapper Prepper. Thank you so much for your super chat, my man. Good news, the big salty finally got some snow. Is it? I'm looking forward to some snow this year. Oh, I've got as well my oh, I've got to sort that out. I've got my the Sigma Prepper Winter Prepping Guide, which I've cut away from the last chapter of my Ultimate Prepping Guide book, so that I can get that out in time, and it's still not finished. I will try and get that done this week, and that will be free for everyone, so I'm really looking forward to get it out to everyone. Silent Walk in the house. Great to see you. Great to see you. All the way from the CA. All the way from the CA. Miss Work. Yes, Miss Wednesday's show. You got to catch up, girlfriend, because I tell you what, it's unmissable. The clue was in the title. Don't miss. Yeah. I wasn't lying. Cheers, my darlings. Love, peace, and progress to the pack. Mm. Yummy. So, what else we got going on? Let's check out the old the financials and see what's going on there, because I saw that we're over 100 bags of sand. We're not quite little finger level of sheets. We're not in the billions. But we're certainly in the 100 bags of sand. Level of sheets for Bitcoin. Dropped below 4,000 for Ethereum, though, interestingly. You can see that reflected there, and the minus 4% on the week. So, you know, doing all right. We'll check out gold quickly. Again, doing all right. Friday, they usually smash it right down at the end, as they have today as well. Look, ooh, boom. That's where it will stay until Monday. So we've roughly ended up about 0.5% on the week. We'll just pop that open there. And again, silver's down. Silver's having a real bad time compared to gold at the moment. And yeah, there's less of it. There's less silver topsoil than there is gold ounce for ounce. Yeah. So yeah, it's a tricky one to call, but yeah, Friday's usually quite dead because, like I say, the news cycle starts Monday and it goes in 72-hour cycles for headlines and things. So really, we're watching out to see what's going to be coming up on Monday. But I've got a whole bunch of videos that I've got pulled out for you. I was just finishing getting them downloaded. Some of them are newsy type things. Most of them are not, because it's Friday. And we like to have a laugh and have guests call in and stuff like that, so we can chat about the events and what you feel about some of the things we talked about Wednesday on the Warzone Wednesday, because we went through a lot on that and some of your thoughts on that. So I'll be interested to catch up with you live. That's kind of what the Campfire Catch-up is. We catch up what's been going on, what I've got planned for next week, some of the things I'm working on that I want to share with you and other things as well. So loads coming up. And let's have that one as well. I'm just grabbing a few vids. So I think what we'll do, I was going to go through, where is it? Is it on this screen somewhere? Here it is. I was going to see what was trending on X, to see what's in the house. So this is the trending, and I don't think I follow anyone on Sigma Prepper on X, do I? Look at who to follow. Look, Funky Prepper. What? Keir Starmer. What? Daniel Davis Deep Div. What? How wrong could it be? It's interesting they've got all them in a group though, isn't it? Bloody hell. Anyway. Sorry, trending we were looking at. Top of the pops. Trending in the United Kingdom. What is it? The Christmas song #1 is it or something? I'm a celeb, get me out of here. Friday 13th. Let's have a little look into that. We usually do this when we're not in the global threat analysis segment. Really what we should do, we should set the flow, right? We should set the flow to... I did actually ask Perplexity for a good, what is the meaning of bada bada ba, right? So look, what is the meaning, for those who don't know, right? And please do vote in the live poll if you see it, if you're watching this live. If not, I did make a reference of it over on the community Discord server, which you'll see, link in description. Is free to join in the main hangout here. I posted a screenshot of the vote in the poll. Which of these bad omens would make you reconsider an important decision? Broken mirror, walking under a ladder, Friday 13th, today, or none of them? I make my own fate. So let us know how you feel about that live in the chat. This is what X is talking about when it comes to. This is basically what we've got going here. Look, historical background. So yeah, it's essentially, to cut a long story short, it's like you've got the Last Supper, right? The Last Supper, where there was 12 people there, and the 13th one turns up, and then it's like, you know, that's considered. That's, for those who don't know, that's why 13 as a number is considered unlucky in Christian culture and stuff like that. Not that Christians have any bad luck, good luck thing. It's the Lord's will, or whatever I suppose it would be, or fate if someone else would call it. So 13 is an unlucky number because of that Last Supper thing, right? And then you've got and then Fridays is the cultural belief. So that's the number 13 is already unlucky because of that, right? But the cultural beliefs about Fridays have historically been viewed as inauspicious days in various cultures. In medieval Europe, Fridays were often considered ill-fated for starting new ventures or travelling. Furthermore, in British folklore, Fridays were associated with executions, as many hangings occurred on this day. Right, so as well as it just being bad luck to do something on a Friday, particularly any business venture, it's also the day that people will be, yeah? So you combine the 13 unlucky number with the Friday unlucky day, and you end up with Friday the 13th, right? So for those who didn't know, yeah, it is Friday the 13th. I just pick up on that. So you mean you've gone through the whole day without anything happening? Because I don't know if you saw earlier, but before I went live on the show, I literally spilt a good portion of my tea on my desk. It's still not even properly cleared up because I'd already, yeah, all the lights were on. Cheers, everyone. I was getting all the lights set up ready, and the countdown was just about to start. I was like 1 minute to 10 UK time, like 4:59 Eastern time, and 1 minute before going live, and lit spilt tea all over here. I'm a little bit worried about some of the electronics that got teed on. I would usually run it underwater. This SD card in my electronic circuit here, this SD card should be okay. because it's raised up, but it's all across here. I spilt tea. Look, this is my Friday 13th thing. This is what happened to me today. Let us know in the live chat what's happened to you, if anything, today, and we'll see if it is a thing or not. Unexpected guest, says Caroline Rose. Should have brought an extra bottle of wine. A grog out, dear. Lovely to see you, Caroline. I hope you're well, my lovely. Cybernetics Crypto Frog. Evening with a curtsy. A tip of the hat. Happy Executioner's Day. Classic Pelican Mongrel in the house. I hope you're feeling better, my man. Miko Wolf with us. Friday 13th. Nobody don't like Jason. I think it's pretty cool. It will teach the city slickers not to go camping. Yeah, you see, that's another thing. Yeah, my version, maybe. I'm a little bit superstitious. Am I superstitious? That's really unfair to say. I'm not. I think because I came from early on in my life a sort of really high level, high pressure sales, direct sales, you know, board level sales background. I will admit I had things like my lucky selling tie. Right, you know, if I was, as a consultant, I'd be going into a boardroom and got to do a massive pitch, like, you know, £1 million worth of project or something that I'm pitching. And I would literally need to have like my lucky selling tie, you know? And I'd have other ties that were for things of other things. Even my Sigma Prepper, my Sigma pendant, right? My wolf pendant here. If I left on one of my solo wild bushcraft camps, right, without my Sigma pendant, I think I'd feel uneasy. Just for that sentimental thing. So if it was, I don't think I would be concerned wild camping on my own solo like I do the stealth camping thing. I've got videos on my channel with it quite frequently. I don't think Friday the 13th would put me off doing that. But I think if it was Friday the 13th and I'd left my pendant at home, right, at the same time, I think that combination might make me feel like maybe there's a sign there saying, Drew, maybe tonight's not a good night, mate. Maybe it's not a good idea. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to listen, because this is just another way of, and your intuition, your inner intuition or your spidey senses communicating with yourself, right? Because they're subliminal, don't forget. They're subconscious, right? A lot of those spidey senses, they're subconscious. It's only when you've got a way to be able to put it into real life things to say, do you know what? This looks like it's just not adding up to something that makes good business sense, right? So I think you need to listen to those things in your mind, because when it comes to preparedness and survival situations, people are in such a panicked and fearful and anxious mindset that's where you end up making really bad decisions. And they come from not listening to your inner, you know, your gut sometimes, you know. You just panic. You're not like sort of taking it all in and then going, you know, how do I feel about it, right? Get all the facts you can, right? How do I feel about it? Then make a decision and then act on that decision, right? Like the OODA loop, yeah? Observe, orient, decide, act. OODA loop, and then back round, right? And then keep making, yeah. Emma's with us tonight, by the looks of it. Thank you those that have voted in the live poll. I've had 63 votes so far, looking good. I wonder if there's 63 likes on the video. Unlikely. People like the votes, people like the polls way more than they like me. Della in the house. She likes me, look. She's given me 12 reasons why she loves me. Thank you, Della, for your super chats last week. I love you, my darling. I hope you're well. Over there on the East Coast. Oh, shiz, it's Friday 13th. Well, I believe in bad luck, shiz, now. Bad news, but could have been worse. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you missed it, Della, but I've already had a spillage. I've had a tea spillage. It's been a disruptive day. And I've had one of my plugins that is essential for my workflow and what I do with my video editing stuff has decided that the license key has expired, even though it hasn't. It's just because the software itself has just updated to the new version, and so everyone's just like, oh, it's not working. So I just got to sit and wait for them to figure the bug out, really. It's so annoying. Anyway, Emma's with us as well. That woman, Mary Kay, did the cosmetics. Might have been An MLM. Oh, multi-level marketing. She started her biz on Friday 13th, and her offices she built, she had a boardroom on the 13th floor. That's brave, Emma. Might not be a great example. Thank you, Emma, for joining us. I do appreciate it, my lovely. Great to see you with us, Emma. Look at Noelle Marie in the house. I hope you're doing well, my lovely. And thank you for your message the other day. I hope you got my... Yeah, I know you got my WhatsApp voice. My WhatsApp voice ramblings. Thank you, Noelle Marie. Seeky, estimates of a Miller furnace. It's 2 years old, keeps shutting on and off. It's amazing. I had my old furnace for 32 years and it went. I guess I have to call a service guy tomorrow. Noelle Marie, with all the stuff you've already had to deal with, girlfriend. Don't forget, my offer still stands, right? What I told you about, Noelle Marie, 100% free. Not mates rates, girlfriend. 100% free, right? You've helped me so much over the years with Sigma Prepper and just me personally. I'm dreadfully superstitious, says Miss Worm, but then half my ancestors were English gypsies, so I blame genetics. Well, you know, how are you feeling about today, Miss Worm? Do you feel like there's anything been lining up with Friday the 13th, spiritual being here? My mother was going to call me Friday because she was the nurse, saw me when I was born. She said, I think you better call it a day. Classic. Thank you for sharing your stories, people. I really appreciate it. Yes, I sent an Uber hug. I felt it, Noelle Marie. I felt it. I sent it right back. Well, I sent you it first, so no. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah? Things are supposed to be getting better. Amphill in the house. The day of the jacket film tool is very easy to make with a Cricut. Oh, I see. Yeah, for the old diffuser thing. Like it. Love to you, honey. So anyway, so now we know what Friday 13th is and what it comes from, right? We don't have to worry about that anymore, but we will, because I've got loads of stuff to show you. It's not even funny that I'm still secretly stalling, because I don't know if you realize it, but I'm just stalling because I'm downloading the things I should have done before the show instead of spilling my tea everywhere. But anyway, so we're gonna check out Robert McNamara being an absolute superstar. Robert McNamara tonight's show is sponsored so far by Robert McNamara and Sandy. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate you. Love to Maya and the missus, Robert. I hope you're all well and looking forward to Christmas. Let us know over on the after party, Robert, and the VIP. I'm interested to know what you're up to this Christmas. Have you got loads of people coming to you? Are you going anywhere? Let us know what you're up to. Are you taking your RV somewhere? Yeah, with your snow chains? Don't think I would. Thank you so much, Robert. What a superstar. Let me love and like your super chat. How novel. We've only had super chats on the channel. We've only had monetization for literally like 2 days, 3 days or something. So thank you so much, everyone. Right, don't go anywhere because we're just going to jump out of this segment so we can get back to base camp and sit around a fire and catch up. So, hit the like button. Right, we can unbuckle our seatbelts now. Thank you, everyone, for grinning and bearing it through the global threat analysis. But we're all good, nothing to fear. Unless it's bin night, I don't usually know what day it is, says Miss Worm. I know, every day's a Monday morning for me. Don't know about you. Right, so what we got to do is... I'm just downloading some bits and pieces. How are we doing for time? Cool, we've been babbling for ages, man. I've got just a few things I'm downloading I've collected for you over the last couple of days I wanted to share. And then, yeah, we'll have guests on the show as well. I'm hoping UK Urban Prepper can come on. If not, then other peeps will be able to have live guests calling. And typically the way we do that is over on the Discord server. We come over here to the... do apologise. Come over to the Discord server. The links in the description is free to join. And right down the bottom here, you'll see there's this live guests room with the clapperboard. That's where you go if you want to come on the show live as a guest. So do bear that in mind. That's what we'll be doing after the break, which is coming up in a minute. So, let's have a look. I'm just catching up. Thank you, Daily Survival. Acknowledged. Roger. Thank you so very much. Right, what we're doing? Loads of stuff. Loads of stuff. So first and foremost, oh god, yeah, like I said before, do make sure that you're keeping up to date with what we're doing with the Warzone Wednesdays, because it's super important, because it's a big one, and we're doing it every Wednesday because we're running out of time. There's so much to learn, there's so much to talk about. This last Wednesday I went through with you. We might need to do that each week very quickly in a shortened way, but so that we can go through and say, right, these are the tactics that could be used. Obviously, this Wednesday was the start of really getting into the details of each of the warfare tactics, starting with drones, since that was in the news at the moment. Looking at some of the technology that's out there with the drones. Oh, check out Purple Flurple in the house. Thank you, my beautiful one. Thank you to you and JD. Happy Friday 13th. You see, you being such a Halloween meister that you are, my perp meister, right? That's why I call her the perp meister, because she's a meister, right? I look proper yellow foldable sheets girlfriend, yeah? The sort of sheets you can fold. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate the shade of yellow. Double digits. I'll be on. Just tell me when, son. I'll be on. Oi, Sigma, I'll be on, mate. Yeah, just tell me when, alright? Don't worry, Mike doesn't talk like that, really. This is UK Urban Prepper we're talking about, who's a fellow friend, prepper, Wolfpack member, and everything else, right? And VIP patron. What can I tell you? Yeah? Superstar, so really looking forward to it. So that's it. Sorry, if anyone else wanted to come on a guest, you're too late. Yeah? UK Urban Prepper, I'd already bagsied him anyway. Bagsy, he's mine, you're it. We ship natural gas to China. I'm glad you're spelling it right. Kaz are in the house. Great to see you, my darling. Not too many people remember that Robert McNamara from the JFK administration. Of course they do. Everyone thinks that's you. Come on. Everyone thinks that's you. Everyone knows that's you, Robert. Yeah. By the way, you liking the Christmas garland? Before we just had Sigma with his hat on. Right, Sigma Wolf have his hat on. But I realised as well, last year we did full-on garland, so I thought, you know, it's in the budget this year for a bit of garland, yeah? It was in the budget for a hat, thank you to our super chatterers, right? It's meant it's in the budget for Christmas garland. I mean, imagine what we're going to be rocking on Christmas Day. Yeah? Yeah, see, look, Carolyn Rose recognised the name from back then, and she's Australian, mate. Yeah? Alright, you lot. Happy Friday 13th. Vibes going out there, son. Yeah? She's our resident Halloween meister, aren't you, perps? Yeah? Got my crossed rifles badge when I was 40 with a 303. Skills with a Z. Skills with a Z. Look at local prepper in the house. Whoosh. Man hugs to you, my man. Man hugs to you, my man. Equally, but not equally as much of a gnarly week this week. I think you've had a gnarlier week than me. If what I think is what I think it is from what I gathered from one of your videos with your personal stuff. So sorry to hear you got that going on, my man. Yeah. Love vibes and health vibes going out to you and the family. Appreciate your message, my man. Appreciate your message. Love, peace and progress. Forever. My father was always catching crap having to say we weren't related. Oh dear. We've got a small tabletop Christmas tree. The first is about 10 years at least. Is it? Well, we'll be talking about some Christmas trees when we come back. I've got loads to show you on that, right? Not about just Christmas trees, but loads of funny stuff, cool stuff. We've got... Oh no, we didn't do memes. We're going to do memes when we come back after the break, and we'll also we'll have UK Urban Prepper Mike on as well, in as a guest. So that's cool. I'm not going out. I'm sending vibes out. Isn't it right, perps? No, Tracy, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. Why would she be going anywhere? Yeah, Sigma Preppers live. Come on. Talking of Sigma Prepper being live, please do vote in the live poll. We had 67 votes like now. I'm not sure if there's as many likes as there are votes. Do it. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. It's completely free. The only bad thing about clicking the like button is you have to, if you're in the live chat, you have to close that first so you can see the like button to then open the chat again. I mean, what? Come on, it's a little bit of effort, but sharing my videos definitely is what we need to do because it's been way more difficult than normal to grow this channel. As I've shown you before, my graphs for every 10 subscribers I get, about 6 are taken away the next day, every day. 60% of everything that comes on. So like I've said before, please do make sure you click the bell notifications, otherwise you'll never see me again. If this is the first time you've seen me and you've hit subscribe, believe me, you'll never see me again because you'll never get a notification and that subscribe button will suddenly magically become unsubscribed when you're not looking. Just so you know. So be aware. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Tuck by V1 in the house. Great to see you, my man. Great to see you. So what we're going to be doing is loads of stuff, and I've got too much even to mention that we've got coming up. So we're just going to basically have a quick break so we can get ourselves set up with a new cup of tea because I'm pretty much empty and it's cold as well. So I'm going to drink cold tea. We might actually have Hugo Bear. We have got the Hugo cam set up. Look. So he might be joining us for part 2 as well. And hopefully, if not totally, Mike will be joining us from UK Urban Prepper. So we'll chat about what's going on. Yeah, we'll get different perspectives and ting. So that'll be interesting. So there's everything to come back for, everything to go and get yourself a cup of tea for. And in about 5 minutes, we'll be back with part 2 of the show. We'll get into all that and more. Please don't miss it because you're going to really regret it if you do. But in the meantime, get yourself a cuppa and I'll see you back here in 5.
Sigma Preppers live, let's start this show.
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Welcome back. Hello to each and every one of you. I hope you are all well. I do hope you are all well. I'm Drew, this is Sigma Prepper, just in case you didn't know where you were or what you were doing. So I hope everybody's got themselves their drink of choice, and I'm just getting the live chat sorted out. Theoretically, it's just a theory, but theoretically we should have UK Urban Prepper with us, calling in live on Discord. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I never know where I am or what I'm doing though, so.
Excellent. And as you can see, Mike, I still haven't got any of my scenes done up for the guest thing yet. Like I had before, I need to reinstate them all and get all that figured out. So do bear with me. This is UK Urban Prepper. No doubt, Daily Survival will pop the link to his YouTube channel in the description if you're not already subscribed to Mike from UK Urban Prepper. He runs a channel talking about very similar stuff, specifically in the UK. You did a show tonight, didn't you, Mike? Tell them about your show you did tonight.
I did, yeah. It was, to be honest, it was just testing Streamlabs because I've gone Streamlabs instead of StreamYard. Right. Yeah. I'm going to be picking your brain this week because there's a few things I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, it's a big. I mean, Streamlabs a bit easier than the OBS that I'm using, but Streamlabs was done as like a user-friendly version of OBS, if you know what I mean. So a lot of things are similar ways of doing stuff. I might end up taking the full jump into OBS. OBS is what I used for the. Is it? Check it out. Someone's done a super chat for you, Mike. The Green Manalisi donated 5 foldable sheets. Thank you so very much. Giving you this to buy me a pint if we ever. There's no if we ever gonna. Yeah, if we ever meet up in a pub, wine bar, or Tesco's, or on a bushcraft camp somewhere, or some massive rave party on a field somewhere, Mike. What do you reckon?
a huge prepper meet, Sigma Urban Prepper meet.
No, sounds like a plan. We'll be beavering away in the background to make it happen. So thank you so very much for your super chat there, man. I really appreciate it. This is
But the show was actually just about the power supply in the UK, and the fact that when all the storm knocked out all the solar panels and stuff, we were importing 3.8 gigawatts at that time, and solar was and wind was generating next to nothing. So we're on a backlog.
Yeah. Did you see the show I did the other night? When was it? The Warzone Wednesday, was it, Mike? Where I was talking about a solar panel taken out by the storm. Darrow, was it? And it was like, oh man. There was for those who didn't see it, I mentioned as well, there was like a massive hailstorm as well in America somewhere that took out like 2,000 acres. Massive solar farm. And we're talking, you know, those hailstones that are like golf balls, right?
Yeah.
Straight through it, man.
Apocalyptic movie
Apocalyptic
style.
Ice. Apocalyptic eyes. Thank you so very much to the people sending in the thanks for the foldable sheets. Sounds like a plan, but not in Wales, says Tracy. Yeah, not in Wales. It'll be somewhere where the weather's really good, Tracy. Don't worry. Yeah.
Don't worry, Tracy. We're taking over North Wales soon.
Not a spot plaster dust doesn't go. We're just catching up with everything going on there. But we'll tell you what, I'm gagging for a sip of my tea, Mike. So, raise them up. Raise them up. Love, peace and progress to the pack. Cheers, everyone. Thank you all for joining this Friday night where we get to chill out, absorb what's been going on. Yeah. Look forward as to what could be going on. Make sure we're prepared for it. Mindset's right. Ready for the weekend. Let our hair down and all those other things. Get our mini skirts on. Right? Get our lipstick on. And our wigs. Oh, sorry. Too much information. But anyway, get out there. Have some fun while we can. Love all of you. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Thank you to the super chatters. Cheers, Mike.
Cheers.
Don't forget, we have to do... Did you see when I was doing my UFO alien invasion wild camping in the wood video? Whatever that was.
Yeah.
Did you see what I was saying about when you do cheers and you clink glasses? And the idea of it is that your drink's supposed to spill into their drink and their drink spills into yours so that you know that you haven't poisoned each other.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, knowledge.
It was all about that back in the day.
Nightmare.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. But yeah, that was back in the day. It was always about battle. Yeah, the table. Like the meal time was always the time that you were supposed to not have to worry about being unalived randomly from behind. Yeah. And so Chinese culture, that's where the chopsticks come from, because knives and forks on the table, come on. Spoons, yeah. Get someone's heart out with that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if they have chopsticks, I mean, you can probably get someone in the eye with the chopsticks. I'm pretty good at catching flies with chopsticks, I've got to say. I'm only joking. Mr. Miyagi.
Miyagi.
But yeah, so you got the chopstick thing, right? Is like, nah, I can't be having that. And that was the same reason. There was something in Japanese culture as well with the samurai where they wouldn't have their swords at the table or anything, and it meant that they also... Do they eat with their fingers? I don't know. But you know, there's the Chinese that eat with the fingers as well, right? So and that's what it's all about. And again, the same with the toasting the glasses, and you know, because you don't have to worry about if you're going to get poisoned at the table. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Talking of, have you ever seen the film, Mike? I think it's called The Last Supper. Let us know live in the chat if you've seen what I'm talking about. The Live Supper. Have you seen that, Mike?
The name doesn't ring a bell.
No? It's quite old now. It's probably like back from the noughties, maybe. Late 90s, maybe the early noughties. But it was like, basically the premise of it is it's like these university students who are in like an HMO sharing...
1995.
Was it 99? Thanks, Mike. The power of Google, eh? Yeah, Mike's my new shotgun assistant. So yeah, basically the idea of it is like there's a group of university students and things, and they do they live together in a shared house and access, you know, students and that doing their degrees. But they're all like well political. They're like talking about, you know, political hypotheticals and things. So they start inviting guests around to dinner, and they invite this person around to dinner one time to their house, and it's like some professor from some university, and they really don't like this person's views, right? Like politically, they're like these guys are like super left wing, extreme left wing, maybe they could be considered extreme right wing. I don't even know anymore. Who knows? Because it's just, they flip the script on all that, right? So, but they're basically like major left wing crazies, and then you get some person in their libertarian sort of thingbob, and they don't like them, so they come up hatch this plan that, and the concept is like if you were on a train and you were sitting opposite Hitler, right? And he was 6-year-old boy on a train, Mike, yeah? Would you take him out as a 6-year-old boy, knowing what he was going to go on to do in the future in his life and be a threat to the world the way it panned out?
Morally, you'd like to say yes, but if physically with a kid in front of you, how possibly could you?
Isn't it?
You'd probably. I'd just try and influence him. I'll say hello.
That's exactly what I say, Mike. Yeah. Do you know? I'm sure I could I'm sure I can talk him out of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there must be a way. There must be some de-escalation technique we could employ.
Exactly.
But this
How
is
have I
where.
not seen this film?
Oh, it's brilliant, man! You got to watch it because it's really good for the sort of thinking through the mindset of
Yeah. Anyone listening? I mean, the cast: Cameron Diaz, Ron Perlman, Bill Paxton, Courtney B. Vance, Jason Alexander. It's full of stars.
Yeah, man.
How have I missed this?
And the dude out of that cartoony thing with the big jung, he's got a big forehead and all that. Scary looking dude.
Big Jun. I don't know.
But you know, the thing is, right, is so they come up with this thing, right? And they have this political conversation around the table. So, I mean, that's the premise of it, right? So it's like, if you knew they were going to go on to do evil, is it evil to take them out now so they can't go on and do that thing? It's a little bit like the old changing the tracks thing. You know? Everyone's seen the changing the tracks thing, right? Let me know live in the chat and in the comments below if you're watching this after, so if you know what I'm talking about, right? Where you got to choose between doing just one dude or doing a bunch of 5. Either way, someone's getting squashed, right? So it's one of those sort of like, and so they're sitting around a table and they say to themselves, right, if we don't like this person's opinions or their political views or whatever, then we're just basically going to give them a different glass of wine. Yeah. We'll have 2 types of wine. You get to live wine and you don't get to live wine at the end of the meal. So they have their conversation during the meal. And then whether they like this person's views or not will depend on what wine they pour. Yeah, and they'll go in the kitchen, they'll have a little confer and say, are we all agreeance? Yeah. So they go in there and they take the poisoned wine. And then they unalive the people, right? And they put them in the garden. And they get to like 10 people, man, right? Like of people that they invite around for dinner, and it just becomes this thing. And I think they almost come... Anyway, you got to watch that movie, but it's really good to sort of like... for that concept of would you be doing that? So let's have and see. Hellboy, there you go, Emma. Is she reading my mind or what? Yes.
Yeah, that's Ron Perlman. I said Ron Perlman. Yeah.
Oh, is it Ron Perlman? Okay, I didn't know what his real name was on.
He was in Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, I'm really bad with names, Mark. So I don't really. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, tuck by one. I'm going reverse order. Geez, I walk away. Just ling enough to bungle my neighbour's car, and that disembodied voice shows up. I don't know what we're talking about there.
I think it's about my voice appearing on the stream.
Oh, is it? When he's just come off your stream before. I can't get away from this guy. He's everywhere. Chopsticks are lethal if poked in the right place. Isn't that right, Paul? Isn't that right? Apparently, how you break up dogs when they're in a fight.
Oh, yes, I know this one.
Up a gypsy. Yeah. Bit of
I know it in theory, not in practice. Just
yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have to practice it, as long as you know theoretically what needs to be done, then you have to make that decision when the time comes. Because maybe your dog will never forgive you. I mean, admittedly, you and your dog will never be able to look at each other the same again.
That's that boundary. That's that boundary.
Oh man. You never know. We could both very much enjoy it. You just never know it happens. But as long as you know, apparently that's how you do it. Cheers, everyone. Have you had any bad luck stuff happen to you today, Mike? Did you hear my analysis of what Perplexity AI had to say about why Friday 13th is Friday 13th?
I heard all the different reasons, like the religious reasons and stuff like that, but I've had nothing bad happen. I've actually had a good day today, to be fair.
Oh yeah?
So
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
glad someone has.
So,
but yeah, did you hear about my tea spillage emergency situation?
I did. Contact cleaner. You must have contact cleaners, surely.
Oh yes, I have. Well, do you know what? Yeah, as an electronic engineer, I know, but the problem is the. I'm more worried about the circuits, right? I did baby wipe, which is wet wipes to those in the United States. But yeah, I'm a bit worried. I can see because it's leaked through to this under foam. There's like strips of metal going in there, like springs for those that don't know. And when tea goes in it, it makes those strips of metal coated with tea and sugar. Tea and 2 sugars, right?
Or do the bag of rice. Leave it in the bag of rice overnight.
Yeah, but it's the stickiness, Mike, is the thing. And I really don't want to disassemble this circuit. Sorry, I have to say it in Johnny Five's voice. But I don't want to have to disassemble this circuit because it means I've got to reassemble it and I just can't be asked. So...
Which version of Short Circuit did you watch? Because that was a very
Butterfly.
Johnny Five.
Butterfly. Do you know, I almost got fired from a 5-star hotel when I was doing electronic and robotic engineering, right? Back in the day when I was a young lad. As it was like a 48-hour, I don't even know how I did it now, Mike, but it was a 48-hour-a-week course. It was like 40 hours maths and like, you know what I mean, 8 hours everything else. And I was doing Italian as well. And also, I was working in this 5-star hotel doing like shifts, you know, the evening shifts in the restaurant and then, yeah, breakfast shifts and that in between my lectures and stuff. And,
what was the Italian called?
Huh?
What was the Italian called?
What do you mean? No, I mean, as I was studying Italian as well, I was learning to speak Italian as as a night course after my...
Doing Italian as well? I was going
doing it. Yeah. So I was kind of doing a lot, right? And I was working in this 5-star restaurant and the woman in the hotel, it was 5-star hotel, and there was a French woman in there, one of the waitresses, and her name was Stephanie, and I was the most annoying 17, 18-year-old who's ever lived. Stephanie, information. Stephanie. It was always in matey boy's voice, and it became extremely annoying to her. But it's because she was so annoying. If she thinks that was annoying voice, then how does she think it is for a British person to listen to a French person's voice? Come on, Mike. Yeah, you with me on that, right? Oh dear. So I was just looking to see if I could give people the heads up with the Last Supper movie we were just talking about. Is it going to get us? There we go. So this is what you're looking for, the front cover look.
It's Last on Prime. Supper. I'm going to watch it. Yeah,
oh, it's on Prime, is it? Oh, cool. I might watch it with our son as well because it's just one of the ones you've got to watch. It's classic. Yeah, great one. And I just remember that concept. There's another one as well that I really liked, which was called The Gift. The Gift was a film that always... and also one of my favourite films in terms of which changed my perception on life quite a lot. Let me know, Mike, if there's any that come to mind for you. But one for me was Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Yeah, one of my favourite films. It really stuck with me.
I'm not sure it changed my life, but it's a great film.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying changed my life. It just changed my perspective on it, and therefore... that has had nudging changes, like in terms of making the best of every day, and like where Bill Murray's character in that, with what's her name, who,
Gina Davis, was it?
No, I want to say Andy McDonald, but that doesn't sound like anything. People in the live chat are going to be telling me and screaming it, Mike, to me right now.
Andy McDowell.
Andy, who? McDowell. Yeah, and I fancied her quite big time at the time, which helped. But it was that whole thing where he was learning the violin and he was learning the piano and he was learning the dance moves and he learned to do ice sculpting. Do you remember that? That's what I took away from that. Was like, given
two types of people. You took that away. I took away the scenes where he threw the toaster in the bath with himself and then jumped in front of the train.
Well, for me, that was what I took away. It was like, yeah, man, given an unlimited amount of time, that's what I'd spend my time doing, just learning stuff, right? And so how he became super refined in a lot of stuff, and I really identified with that in terms of, you know, having a lot of interests and trying to be as good as you can be at each thing. And the thing that he had was time, and that's why it was changed my perspective back then, was because as a young man, was because it was like you realize that time is finite, you know. It's kind of, and if you can find a way to create time and space to do things like learning to ice sculpt and learning dance moves or whatever it is you're interested in or professional in, was what set me on that path to be, you know what I mean, self-growth type mindset, which I think is very much a Sigma characteristic, is that self-reliance, self-independence, which comes from always wanting to become better and learn more and become, you know, more broad in your knowledge and things like that, right? I'll just look through the chat. Andy McDowell, thank you, Miss Worm. I bet everyone said it ages ago. Is Brian in the house? Brian is in the house. Scottish Prepper, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody, come on, make some space. Let him through, Come on. Good to see you, Scottish Prepper. Oh dear. Stevie O in the house as well. Lovely to see you, Stevie O. Johnny Fave. Purple still with us. Strange how it's suddenly popping up. What's popping up? Who are misses? Are you keeping track of what's going on in the chat, Mike? Because Friday's a little bit crazy usually. We're just chilling out in front of the campfire. With the Christmas garland, are you liking it?
Yeah, I'm loving the seasonal. I'm more preferring the hat on the wolf though.
Yeah, man. Sigma's hat. He's well happy. He gave me a nice little smile when I put that hat on. He's got other, you know, he comes with interchangeable, you know, masks and hats and all sorts of things, right? It's no expense spared on this show, right? No messing about.
Should have been a Friday the 13th mask then, right?
Well, you know, I'm just seeing, I think I've got, oh, it's in here, look. Here it is. So you can have, instead of the Christmas hat, you see, we can have the Halloween ghost, or we got the Guy Fawkes. We got the Guy Fawkes, look.
Oh.
With the hat and everything, right?
That mask gets you put on a list straight away.
Quick. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more I come up with as I get, you know, as I get the budget. Talking of which, thank you to our super chatters tonight. We've had foldable sheets, man. We've only been monetized like 2 days. I'm really sorry, Mike, but I got to do this because it's only fair. I got to say thank you because I didn't give the shout out to the VIP Patreon members on Wednesday because I was a naughty boy. So thank you to everybody who's helping to keep the show alive. I really appreciate it because without you, we ain't got nothing. But now we've got monetization of the channel with ads. So it's a start. Better late than never. Patreon's a great way to support the channel. Don't forget, you get access to all sorts of free behind the scenes stuff. Also VIP after party chats on Discord, one-to-ones with me, plus discounts on my exclusive products, and everything is great to do from as little as 20 cents a day. These are the people doing it and making it happen. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Really appreciate it. Sapper Prepper UK is the last one in. There's plenty of spaces for you out there. So thank you to those that are helping to keep the show alive. It's been a proper struggle, been on fumes for 2 years, and we've managed to limp through. We just got to get past the gate. Thank you to everyone who's helped it happen. All links in description. Really appreciate you. Thank you to you. Absolute wonderful bunch. Love you. Love you. Right. Sorry about that, Mike. Just had to do my duties to my maximum appreciation.
Sky's the limit now.
Isn't it? Even the sky's not the limit, man. We're going outer galactic. Yeah? We're going extra galactic.
SpaceX.
SpaceX styling.
Speaking of movies.
Yeah.
What films do you think has influenced you as a prepper?
Carolyn Rose, the wolf should be wearing reindeer ears to infiltrate the prey. Great question. I'll tell you what, less of a film, Mike. It was an interview with a guy from way back in the day, right? Bosnian War, I think it was, whenever that was. 90s or something, 80s was it? And he described, and this was on a channel of a guy that I used to follow way back in the day, like in the Truther circles and that, right? J Pip or something his name was. He got taken off YouTube years and years ago. And he was reading out an interview that was done with a guy who lived through the Bosnian War, right? And it was super minging bad news back then, Mikey Poos, right? Yeah. And I guess what I learned from that, and basically how it went is, I'll just summarize it for those out there that aren't familiar. And why it was so insightful to me, Mike, was the fact that it was raw, it was real, yeah? I always say to people, it's like a smart man learns from their mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And when you can understand how crises play out in real life, you could just study how things have happened, who survived, who didn't, and why. You can learn an awful lot just from that, right? So this Bosnian dude was talking about in the war, when it kicked off, and it was freezing cold, Mike. It was like winter, right? And so the power went down because all the generators got kicked in, all the power grid went down, there was no cell towers anyway at that point. The sort of phone lines were down. And he said within 3 months, there was no window frames, doors or door frames left on any house around there because they'd all been taken out and been burnt to keep warm. Right? And all the trees in the park have been cut down. All the wooden benches that were in parks have been taken and used for firewood. This is how desperate it was, man. People were living in rubbles of houses. And he was talking about, and I really, bear with me, people, particularly ladies or dudes like me who are quite, I'm super high levels of empathy and things, right? Which is a blessing and a curse at the same time, Mike, right? I feel everything on every sense, like, epically, right? But there were stories of this woman who came knocking on the door, literally holding a newborn baby, offering herself, if you know what I mean, for a tin of beans. Yeah? Like clutching a newborn baby and she's offering herself to him as payment for a tin of beans, man. Yeah? And the reason that he survived with his brother and father or something like that, yeah, and mother, was they were in the rubble, so they were like bugging in versus bugging out and homesteading, right? So that it got beyond homesteading to the point, where you're trying to play it cool. Shit's hit the fan, you got building walls have collapsed, so there's like, they had a space underneath where a wall had collapsed in their house, so they were under there. That was how they kept out of Dodge. And his brother was an engineer, and he had this big gas canister. And as an engineer, he sort of fashioned some copper pipe and some hose pipe, and he made himself basically a regulator, Mike, as we would know it, yeah, for the thing, which had an attachment on the end that he fashioned with the small bit of hose that he got out of some liquid cooling thing he pulled out of a fridge. You know what I mean? Like brake hose looking stuff. And he basically made a lighter refueler. So he, with the massive gas tank, imagine that, Mike, right? Them big ones, yeah? Like you have for welding and shit. He was able to fill people's lighters up, and filling up someone's lighter, listen everybody, listen. Filling up your lighter was worth 4 tins of beans or a clip of 7 in your you-know-what. Pew pew. Yeah? Yeah. That's how valuable having a lighter was.
Yeah, that's food for thought, definitely, isn't it?
And seemingly intercourse is worth 1 tin of beans. Right? Wow. And so the stark reality of it, Mike, right? You know, I won't go into more detail of some of the things that went down, but you can kind of imagine, right? When people are desperate enough where they're cutting down trees in the park and they're eating the animals out of the zoo. We saw that in Venezuela, don't forget, not that long ago. You know what I mean? So this can repeat everywhere. This is not like, oh, this is just Bosnians. Oh, this is just Venezuelans. No, these are humans, man. This is the human condition, as I talked about on Wednesday. We all suffer from it, right? We all suffer from it. And that's what you realise. And I saw that as well, living in different countries way back since 2000, living in a small little island in Southeast Asia. You already see how fragile things are. You already see how dependent you are. You know, on the big stores having stuff in the shop, you know, the water truck man coming by every 3 days. You know what I mean? You get, and then when it doesn't, and there's no supplies turning up to the island because the port's been wiped out and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? There's no internet because the whole lines have been snagged. Wow, man, we had everything. And so you're not really calling yourself a prepper, and no one thinks you're a prepper. You're just living like the local Thai people do. And do you know what I mean? You're having to rely on your own skills and your own knowledge and being resourceful. And so when you couple that with what I was saying to you about that Bosnian thing, right? That interview. You realise, on top of how fragile we are as humans, just how fabric of society is so fragile. Yeah? Worse still. Because that's what makes it a force multiplier, and things get way out of control. Yeah?
Yeah.
Group think. Yeah? Things like that. Love to you, Mike. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's a scary thing because people are complacent to it, right? We live in a society of next day delivery, of same day delivery, of Uber Eats, and things like that. And it's created a generation of people with the mentality of it'll never happen to us. But I'm pretty sure you could speak to anyone from these war-torn countries, and prior to anything happening, they were of the same mentality, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And this is where people become, and that complacency ends up being learned dependency, really. You know, the governments kind of like people to be dependent on them. Otherwise, there's no reason to have a government if people aren't dependent on them, right? So they create situations that make people dependent, right? So you're already fighting against a resistive force in. This is why culturally, Mike, people are perception managed is the technical term for it, right? As the intelligence services would call it, perception management, right? People's perceptions have already been managed on people like preppers, right? To make people think that's the wrong way to go. Do you see? Because what prepping's really about is becoming independent, becoming self-reliant, right? Now, self-reliant and independent and Sigma characters and personality types. There was a guy in the comments on one of the things where I was busting down the analysis on Funky Prepper and where I think he's gone or not, right? And he was going, oh, you know, you're I don't think he would know how to use the word, but you know what he's trying to say is you're an oxymoron, because you're saying, oh, it's a wolf pack and you'll come together, but Sigmas are all like lone. It's like, no, there's nothing about a Sigma personality that means that they're loners. It's just they don't need other people to survive. It doesn't mean that they want to be all on their own in the middle of the woods in a cave. It's not what a Sigma personality is. It's unlike an alpha who wants to just boss everyone around, get everyone to do everything for them. Typically because they can't. Do you know what I mean? And then you got the betas who just ain't got a clue where to start and just tell me what to do and I'll go and do it for you kind of shit. But then the Sigmas are like, nah, do you know what? Hold my beer. Do you know what I mean? I've got this and I just don't want to rely on anyone else, because typically I've learned in life that you can't rely on the government. They're never there for you. That you can't rely on your mates because they often let you down, you know. There's the real true mates which don't. But you know what I mean? Generally, everyone here listening, tell me live in the chat, yay or nay, if you've ever been let down by someone you didn't think you'd be let down by. Just a yes or a no in the chat, and we'll count them up in a minute, Mike, right? So when you learn these lessons...
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, well, I mean, I hate to say it because it's not fair to do so on my... I was out on my own, homeless at 15, right? So I had to figure a lot of shit out pretty early on. And so one of the first things I figured out is that I can't even rely on my family. You know what I mean? I can't even fall back on my family. And so when you're in that position, you already have to become that Sigma personality where you want to develop yourself and grow every day so that you can do as many things without having to rely on other people that then let you down, that then have a cascade effect on your success or your path or your trajectory. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's like Sigma's nothing to do with being a lone wolf and wanting to be on your own. It's just people tend to be able to be on their own. And when people, that's the whole point of the wolf pack. We get to come together and share these times with each other, being similar minded people who don't want to be all about the, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Mikey Poos. Mark Carpenter in the house.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because till I found your channel and yourself, I'd never even Sigma never even popped into my mind.
Is that BS? As in BC, before Christ? It's like before Sigma.
It's an unfortunate initial.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. If I'd had longer, I would have thought it through more.
Obviously, military background and stuff like that. I've always considered myself like, when people say alpha and beta, to me, it's always been in my head like, a man or a wet wipe. That's been the alpha and beta for me. It's not a case of
but in the military
boss everyone around. But I do think that in a crisis, in a SHTF situation, people need structure and leadership. Yeah. So even as a Sigma, multi-skilled, multi-talented, you would still have to provide a level of leadership for the people that aren't.
Do you know, I think the thing with that, and thank you everyone, look at all the people, like everyone knows what I'm chatting about, right? And so you just learn that you're much better developing the skills yourself. I mean, I know as an entrepreneur, Mike, right? This is why all the things that I can do is not because, I've just decided I'm going to be expert in all these things. It's like, no, it's just because I've never had any money or any rich parents to go, here, Drew, have a fucking couple of bags of sand, go and have some fun building a business, you know what I mean? So I've had to learn to do all them things myself because I can't afford to pay someone else to do it. Everything you see here is homemade, right? DIY, which is why my circuit boards look like that, right? So, that's subject to budget. Obviously, if this kicks off, Mike, and Sigma Prepper goes global, which it already is global, but you know what I mean? If it goes epic, then I'll be like, it'll be Sigma Prepper versus Tony Stark Styly, man, right? and the 007 Labs Syndicate. Right, it's going to be all on, and people are going to, anyone who's following me is going to be surviving whatever it is. Put it that way. Do you know what I mean? That's my quest. Is that anyone who's been following me long enough is going to survive no matter what it is, and it will be largely due to what they've learned from us, the community, rather than me specifically. That includes you, Mike, as a great part of this community. So I really appreciate you finding me, and equally me finding you, because I really respect what you've done, how you built your channel, and you've been banging them videos out, man. It got great value as well, so kudos.
Can I challenge you?
I love to be challenged.
As a prepper, would you say you're reliant on your technology?
On the contrary.
Without it, do you think you would still thrive?
Yes. Because the technology for me comes second. Yeah? Not even second. Technology is quite far down the list. Right? Now, I've got my own list of categories of preps, for example. Right? Yeah. Funnily enough, I was doing something to do with my book yesterday with daily survival. So I've split it into 12 segments of a pie. Right? This is like my own concept thing. But it falls in line with I did a whole show about intelligent prepping, right? Which is about the strategic approach to preparedness, where rather than just running off and buying a whole load of stuff and a whole load of gadgets, is about looking at, okay, I want to survive for 7 days. So if I want to survive for 7 days, there's a bunch of stuff you need to have rather than just food and water or just a pew and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? And this is where my prepping profiles methodology came from, that I first developed back in 2020 or something, and I did it more publicly with Sigma Prepper on one of the first SHF scenarios I did. In fact, it might even be on here. It is Advanced Principles of Prepping. But what I'll need to make sure I do though is grab the guest mic and paste that in there. Right, there you go, Mike, you're back with us again. So this is the Advanced Principles of Preparedness, right? Right, now you go profiles here, right? So this was something I came out with a couple of years ago. It's extensively written about in my book, right? The Ultimate Guide to Prepping. I might as well punch that open while we're here, because it's much easier to show you on there, to be honest. But this was the original that I made back in the day, right? So the idea is that this isn't split into 12 for the purposes of brevity. For me doing these, you know, you've seen some of my slideshows I do from other shows, and you, right, the presentation type things. So it's epic numbers of pages and slides and stuff, right? So I've broken these preps down into this, oh, hold on. Sorry, I just had to get your mic in here again, Mike. Just kidding. I forgot I'm on profiles now. So the idea with this, right, is I've split it down. I've got it into 12 categories of prepping, but for here to make it just a bit smaller for people on smartphones, we've got it down into like 8 or something, right? Now, the key here you see is that this is the unprepared. So down here is the time in months, right? Going up to 24 months for those that are on a smartphone and can't read that. So this is time in months on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis, so basically that number 1 you see down there is 1 month. Yeah, so that's 1 month. Less than 1 month, you'll see the unprepared can survive, because they're only going to survive as long as their lowest prep. In this case, water infiltration looks like they've got 1 week at the top. It's a sliver. And don't forget the rule of threes, right? 3 days without water and it's like lights out, curtains. Logged out the admin. Yeah. So the idea with this is to say, well, you know, survival sustained for 3 to 4 weeks max, squirrels on sticks after that. You know, my whole tagline, well, my tagline's reject the herd, prepare the pack. But my sub-tagline is, when shit is the fan, yeah, don't end up around a campfire eating squirrels on sticks, right? Which in fact is in my book here, The Ultimate Prepping Guide, right? So here, even on page 2, look, when SHTF, don't end up around a campfire eating squirrels on sticks. So in here, let's get to the right page. Oh, actually, we can just get to the menu and click on it. Prepper profiles. So this is how it looks like in the book, right? So you can see that they've got proper characters. But it's nice because now you can see the characters, Mike. I didn't come up with characters before, but I did for the book. So how prepared are you really? Yeah, many survival enthusiasts and preppers believe they are fully prepared for crisis, but in reality, they often overlook critical aspects of their preparations. So this is... Sorry, just getting guest Mike in here as well, Mike. But this goes into these... I've done these as interactive, look. This is an interactive guide I've built for my book. So you can click on these tabs and it will go through how it things, which we'll see in a minute. And then I've broken down here. Let me just zoom out a little bit. So then I've broken it down here in case people don't have the interactivity or they're on sort of weird device, right? And you can't click these things. I've done it here anyway. And it gives it a breakdown. This is the biggest threat, look. Water infiltration, the unprepared, and then we've got the hunter, right? So it breaks down, analyzes what's going on here, right? And gives you a full description, the predicted survival outcome, right? So that's the idea of it. But it's based on this presentation I did a couple of years ago. And so as you see when you go to like the hunter, for example, you see all the hunting and growing stuff. Like, you know, these are the people, Mike, that say to me, oh, I can survive. I've got 18 months worth of preps. And I say, oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got like, you know, I'm just going to hunt. Now, you know, and I know when it hits the fan, everyone's going to be thinking they're going to be hunting. And anyone who's got an air rifle in the garage is going to be dusting it off and going out there trying to find something, right? So the wildlife ain't going to last long. The fish in the lake ain't going to last long. You know what I mean?
And most of them have never hunted anything in their life or prepared anything afterwards.
Yeah, and you got to get there and get back, right?
Yeah.
And while you're there, your family's at home wondering what's going on with the like smashing windows and people banging on the door, right? But the problem is, look, energy and fuel. Yeah, less than a month's worth of energy and fuel, so you're going to come unstuck with that. You know, it's surprisingly important. And you'll see what I've done here, Mike, is I've put this in order of what's going to unalive you the most. So water and filtration at the top, obviously, right? Food and storage, that's 3 weeks without food. But energy and fuel is important because this is what's going to keep you things like that's including like your gas to be able to cook your food or boil your water if it's not from a fresh source so you can kill the viruses when pasteurizing it, you know? And they're just completely no idea. It's like, and their security and protection's going to get them like maybe 3 months if they're lucky. Do you see? And I'm like, so then you haven't got 18 months worth of preps now, James, have you? Do you know what I mean? These are the conversations I have. It's like, how many... this dude was a fisherman I'm referring to. I called the hunter. Because all these people are based on, you know, preppers or YouTube channels over the years I've spoken to and other people that I've known in real life who call themselves preppers and all that shit. And you start drilling down into the details and I just haven't thought it through, Mike. It's literally just like, I haven't thought it through. Like even this...
Does that not sell the idea of all these characters? If all these characters were together as a mutual assistance group, surely that's like the ideal. Oh no,
we'll get to the ideal, right? so this is like where he comes unstuck because he ain't got the security and protection, hasn't got the energy and fuel, so can't purify his water, can't cook his shit, can't keep his lights on. This dude I'm talking about, he had an air rifle, a good one with a scope on it that had a red dot, reticle red dot, right? And he reckoned he was going to go fishing because there was a lake that was like 2 miles away. So I was like, how are you going to get there and back, man? You're going to get mugged on the way there, if not on the way back, if you're carrying fish. And I asked him, I said, how many hooks you got? He's like, what do you mean how many hooks you got? Well, because he was, and I said, well, how many, when you go and catch fish, how many times do you have to cast out? Yeah? And how many times do you drag it in and you haven't got a fish on the end and you've lost your bait or you lost your hook or whatever? And they're like, oh, probably about 5 hooks for every fish, depending on where you're fishing in terms of getting stuck in reeds and other things that happen. Yeah. And so it's like, so basically what you're telling me then, you need 2 fish a day to feed you and your family. This is how this conversation went. So there's me behind the scenes, Mike, with my fucking calculator, right? Because I, you know, and I'm like adding this up and he's going, I'm thinking, right, so you need 5 hooks for every fish. You need 2 fish, so that's 10 hooks a day, right? How many do you reckon? 18 months. So, right? So you go 18 times 28 days. Yeah? It's 500 days. Yeah? Times your 10 hooks a day to get you 2 fish. You're talking 5,040 hooks, right? He told me I had a pack of 500. I'm like, dude, you're 10 times short. So have you really? And not to mention, I said, how many button cell batteries you got for your red dot scope? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you know, inside that, dude, where you get the red light in there, looks like a laser dot in the glass. I was like, you realise that's like illuminated from like a watch cell button cell in there. Oh, is it? Yeah. So again, he hasn't even tested his preps, Mike. Oh no. This is already a disaster. Do you know what I mean? And this dude's got a YouTube channel. He's got like 20,000 subs now. I helped him build his channel, right? And he just doesn't have a clue. I mean, he does, but he doesn't because he just doesn't think through the details. And so he doesn't even have a spare battery. So now his reticle scope is not going to be functional if he just leaves it on accidentally overnight. It's like usually about 48 hours and that thing's gone.
Yeah. I don't worry for him. I don't worry for people like that. I worry for the 20,000 people following him who's taking that as advice. That's the issue.
Yeah. You can see the predicted outcome up here, though, Mike. I came up with, look, food shortage due to unseen threats, travelling to hunt, bait, etc. Because, of course, you might have enough, even if you've got 5,000 hooks, there ain't going to be 5,000, sorry, there ain't going to be 1,000 fish, because he wants 2 fish every day. Don't forget, 508 days, right? 504 days, sorry. Yes, you're talking about 1,008 fish he's going to need for those 18 months. You see? There isn't going to be that many fish in that lake. Not when you've got like 100 people there because everyone else is wanting fish. It's just not thought through, man. Right?
Yeah. And the hungry fisherman that is there, that's not caught anything for 2 days, sees you pull a fish out. Guess what? He's going for you, not another fish.
Yeah. Yeah. And as it says here from a book, look, hunters rely heavily on their ability to hunt and gather food. While they excel in hunting and growing, they often neglect other vital areas such as not having enough stored water or medical supplies. Moreover, the reliance on hunting poses risks such as competition for resources and threats while travelling to hunting grounds. So predicted survival outcome, look, injured from fighting while out hunting / starvation from food shortages due to unseen threats. Because what I found as well with this dude is he didn't actually have, he was so arrogant and confident in his hunting skills, Mike, you know, because he's such a great hunter. No security and protection and no food storage. There was like no contingency plan. Mike, you've only got to have your air rifle taken off you and your fishing rod snapped. Sorry about your luck.
Even if keep all of that. If we're talking about fallout or anything like that, if it's contaminated, that fish is going to be
exactly.
three-eyed fish from Simpsons.
100%, yeah. And you got to be, and this is it. It's not just about preparing for one instance. It's about, you know, one of my quotes actually that you'll see in the quotes we'll do after this segment is largely to do with that, about the ability to adapt. And this is the whole point of where I was teaching this a couple of years ago, the concept of it, because you need to be thinking three-dimensionally in this space, because you'll find a lot of people have the things that they're best at. Do you know what I mean? This is like the Kitchen Queen's a classic one, right? And again, this is somebody that I know, right? Water infiltration, great job.
I've had Kitchen Queens on the podcast, yeah.
Food storage, they got all the canning, all the vacuum sealing stuff, right? All the cookbooks that you could have, off-grid cooking, right? Real concentration of water infiltration, energy and fuel, no gas stored, no other alternative means of cooking apart from their microwave, electric cooker and gas hob that's plugged into the mains. Do you know what I mean? It's like no camping cooker that you can just go bosh onto a Calagas bottle. Propane, not butane, I recommend. You can store it at lower temperatures and use it at lower temperatures. But medical supplies, look at security and protection. And these tend to be sort of like, I don't want to say it, but you're a single lone woman. This is why I help a lot of women. My women versus men on this channel, it doesn't list in between us, but women versus men is about 50-50, 60-40. Yeah, it's unheard of in the prepping community. And so I'm real proud of that. And it's because I do a lot of solutions that are for vulnerable people, for disabled people, for normal people, for women, for just a regular couple who have a corporate job, who, do you know what I mean? But you do find that they tend to have things like security and protection. They don't have any. They've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars up here, Mike, but they've not put anything into security and protection. They've got no alarm systems. They've got no shield defenses or protective clothing or anything. Yeah. And so again, when they say, oh, and these are the people that say to me, oh, I've got 2 years worth of preps, mate. I'll be all right. Well, I've been canning since before you were born, mate. Quote unquote. Yeah. I've been canning since before you were probably born, mate. That was what this one woman told me. But it doesn't matter because it's lights out, man, because energy and fuel and with a security and protection right down here. Yeah, if you see what my book says about it. Yeah. The Kitchen Queen.
Somebody else will be enjoying your canning.
Fucking right. Completely overlooked, right? This person has zero means to defend themselves or their prep. So anything beyond 1 week's worth of prepping, which is as long as you're lasting, because that's as long as you can cope with the nihiliness, because this goes in nihiliness. Don't forget, if it's been 12 months of a crisis, the grid's been down for 12 months. Imagine the security and protection it is. It's not a linear scale, Mike.
No.
You're talking proper Mad Max styly purge after just if you see my grid down scenario, SHCF scenario show, like I'm showing you I've done here, similar style, right? It breaks it all down day by day. By week 2, it's already looking like the purge. Do you know what I mean? Because 3 days people are already getting logged out of the admin with no water. And so, yeah, you know, they're just basically going to be having their stuff taken from them. And they're just feeding someone else at this point. Yeah, Kitchen Queens invest heavily in food storage, but often neglect their critical supplies like security and protection. They may have 2 years of food, but lack the means to defend it. Without adequate security, their stockpiles can easily be taken by more prepared individuals. It's essential to balance food storage with protection measures to survive. So look, predicted survival outcome. Overpowered, invaded, food taken by desperate people breaking in, or taken over by the commando. Who's the commando? Yeah? The commando, Mike?
It's how I started prepping.
The commando is next on the list. Yeah.
This was me. I've seen this one. This was me.
Really? Well, I mean, and to be honest, this is why a lot of preppers who come from the military don't do very well in real life, I've found. When you analyse it, they do very, very poorly, people from military background. There's a few reasons for it. And it's not just this, the security and protection focus and all the gadgets and all the night visions and all the rest of it. Yes, it can be a force multiplier, but you generally find these people ain't got a clue about growing food because they don't care. They ain't got a clue about medical supplies because their ego is so massive they're never going to get shot. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm invincible, so I'm all right. This tends to be the same mindset. But the reason that commandos tend to, or people who are highly, highly military trained, is the same reason as why, you know, it's like the B students hire the A students, but it's the C students who run the company, right? So the longer somebody spends in education, the more they become an A student, and therefore the more they just become a rule follower. Yeah? And the whole point of commandos in the military is you're taught to be part of a team. You're relying on a guy who's a medic. You're relying on a guy who's the communicator. You're relying on a guy who's the fucking gunner. You're relying on a guy who's the driver. You see? Everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone's trained to the same level. That's not real life, man. You're dealing with a family where you've got 2 daughters, a son, a dog, 3 cats, and a fucking goat. Nothing that you've learned in the military is going to be of any use apart from how to aim and fire. That's it. Yeah? Apart from the usual bushcraft shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you need to be all of these people in one person. Without anyone telling you what to do as a beta. Because
I'm not defending it. But there's lots of skills that are transferable.
100%.
You're right, you can't rely on it, but there's lots of skills that are transferable. One being discipline. And discipline, not discipline to follow orders, but discipline to
carry them out.
Ration food. To carry on a regime even when you're low on energy. To you know, that kind of discipline. I think there's a lot of transferable skills, but I was like this. I had security and protection. I had hardware spares. Hunting. That was in my head. But then, literally, I think it was 5-6 years ago. I took stock of my preps, and I'm like, yeah, well, actually, once my bottled water's gone, I'm screwed. I've got a life straw. That's not good. So,
yeah. I mean, there is things like, I mean, anyone who's done military is at least going to be, you know, like when I'm doing my survival bushcraft things on my own in the woods, solo, stealth, with just me. This is a sort of thing that the military just don't really teach you so much because you're always part of a platoon or a team, or, do you know what I mean? It's more having that, you haven't got anyone to watch your 6. Everyone goes on about watching my 6. It's like, that's a weakness. If you're having to have someone else to watch your 6, it means you ain't covering your own 6 well enough. It means you haven't got the things in place. You haven't got the techniques or the skills or the knowledge to be able to set yourself up in a way where you don't need anyone else That's the whole point of a Sigma, don't forget, right? Is you don't need anyone else. You're all of those people, like an astronaut has the collective skills of an average village, as they say. Yeah. For that reason, because you ain't got a team of people up there. You ain't got your chemists. You ain't got your engineers. You ain't got your physicists. It's fucking you and outer space, man. And so if you ain't got the skills and the knowledge in yourself up there, you're fucked. And it's exactly the same in real life. If you're not going to have your old mate from the army down the road that you can call up and say, oh, how'd you do that thing again where you have that? Do you know what I mean? Nah, this is it, man. It's you, yourself, and I. And this is where things tend to fall apart because of that discipline they've had, but none of their family members, their neighbours haven't had that. So they start shouting like an alpha at their neighbours. They've got no de-escalation skills at all. It's all about the do it. Follow orders. Real life isn't like that. It's not. You're dealing with screaming kids that are crying in the corner when there's a guy at the door and you're trying to be quiet. You've got dogs barking that you're trying to pretend that you're not trained for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where people get this, but the most damaging thing about it, Mike, is this is the Dunning-Kruger, this confidence in themselves. That's where the ego comes from and the complacency. Because I've been in the army, so I know to survive. My son's a 2-star, just got promoted last weekend, Lance Corporal cadet at 16, and he knows as much as I do at that age already in terms of survival, from what he's learned in terms of what I'm doing out there. Bugging out simulations and things like that, learning how hard it is and all the things that can go wrong. I've had 2 failed bug outs, Mike. I don't know about you, but my solo bug outs I've had twice where I've had to abort mission, literally, right? Massive gale blew up and I literally nearly lost my entire camp. Hammock and all. And me and all, right? I was branches like Widowmakers going fudung on my ridgeline. I had to get Mrs. Sigma Prepper Magic Hand to do my emergency evacuation procedure. And you can't get a car to where I go wild camping, right? So that's the thing. Nothing wrong with commandos, but generally these are the guys who get into trouble. I've got a mate of mine whose plan, right? I said to him, this guy's largely based on him. He's like super ex-army and that, and he thinks he's invincible, like an action man, right? And he was all about the security and protection, right? No food and storage. When I questioned him on that, he said, oh, nah, fuck that. I don't need to, man. I'll just go around taking other people's stuff. I'm like, what? Your plan is to be going out there and getting amongst it on purpose, right? You're going to be getting out there and getting amongst it. So, and I said to him, I said, who's going to be looking after Fiona, which was his wife's name, and the kids and that? Yeah. While you're out there fucking being macho, man. It was almost like he'd never thought it through, Mike. That far. So, like, you're out there trying to rob people's tins of beans in their house, being all He-Man and macho and shit. Yeah.
But the thing is, Hollywood movies are only 2 hours long, so that's not the only amount of time you have to survive for. In 2 hours' time, it'll all be back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is why it's not about relying on anything. You got to be so spread out across the board because each one of these things can catch you out. And like I say, my list of preps, the list of categories is 12 more than 8 because it's so important that you're incrementally prepping. That's the part of the strategic approach to preparedness, is that you're incrementally prepping. If you're prepping for 7 days, then you're going to need stuff from each of these things proportionately. Do you see? So you'd need, like, I mean, hunting and growing, you don't need to worry about for 7-day preps. If you have to go and start growing shit and hunting shit just to survive 7 days, you can survive 3 weeks without eating at all. Some people could probably do with it. Oh, dear, especially with Christmas coming up. But do you know the animal lover's based on someone? Do you know an animal lover, Mike?
I do, but this one's always troubled me. This whole concept of animals after SHTF, because have you read the book 1 Second After?
Is that the red and white cover one?
Forsham. It's William Forsham, I think it is. But it's a good read anyway. But basically, it's an EMP situation, and it boils down to how long can you sustain them animals before you either let them loose or they become a prep themselves. Well, that's the thing, and I'm not sure how practical. I mean, we've toyed with the idea of a dog, and I love dogs, but all I'm thinking in the back of my head
see, dogs are different, dude. Dogs aren't net negative value as a pet, right? Whereas a fish is. A cat is.
Purely storage for dog food has got to take up a massive lump of storage and preps, right?
Nah, man. The security and protection that a dog provides you in terms of early warning and deterrent and stuff like that way outweighs itself in dog food, believe me. And you can buy sacks and sacks of dry food that dogs are happy with, and they're great scavengers and they're great with scraps anyway. I mean, Hugo Bear's a big, like 62 kilo, 130 odd pound, you know, South African Mastiff. But you'd be surprised, man, it's more expensive feeding our 3 cats than it is Hugo Bear. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
he's a 60 odd kilo dog, right? I mean, people ain't gonna be messing about. When they hear him bark, he just sounds like a big dog. Do you know what I mean? He has a value. But the animal lover character for me was when I first wrote this concept was based on someone, a dear friend of mine, at the time. Days. Oh, really? Excellent. I mean, yeah, and she was a dear friend, and yeah, she spent all of her money, and she had more focus on keeping her fish alive. The only reason she even had a jackery was to run the air thing in the fish
tropical
tank.
Fish,
Yeah, and it was like more food in terms of time for survival of her animals than for her as well, and you know what I mean? And I realise that there's people who go too mad for their pets and they overlook themselves, and they overlook, again, things like the security and protection, because, you know, if you've got, this could include things like wildlife and cattle. If you've got cattle, then you're going to need to have, if you reckon you've got 12 months of preps, then that means you're going to need to have 12 months worth of cattle feed. Do you see? It's just getting that point across. That pets and animal supplies are in its own category, right? Now, really, you've just got, the way I do it in my book with the prepping guide is like, the way you look at it is, instead of having vulnerable, I was having like pets and dependents. So that would include people who are disabled or old grannies who are bedridden, would be a dependent as well as a young child. And so these people are net negative in terms of they are people that need to be cared for, defended, protected and fed and watered, but they don't offer anything back in terms of real term usefulness. Yeah, they're not helping to secure the perimeter. They're not helping to watch out through the fucking window. Do you know what I mean? They're not. And if it's a baby, they're less than net negative because they're crying randomly. So if you're trying to pretend you're not in, good luck with that, you know? So there's certain animals can be a benefit. You've got 3 dogs is much better than having loads of cats and some fucking snakes that need thermal things. You know what I mean? You know, the old thermal lights on and all that to keep them warm all the time. And then you're panicking about how am I going to keep the lights on? Right?
I'd keep a pet snake because I don't like them and they're good food. So I'd keep a pet snake.
But again, this is...
It would go before the tinned food.
Yeah. But you see, there are people like the hunters and people who are really into that, so they don't bother with the rest of it. And so equally, there are people who are really into growing food, so they don't, you know, they're like, their green fingers, they've got vegetable patches, they've got their allotments, they've got their greenhouses. They never consider the fact that as valuable as that food will become in a crisis, as prepared as people will be to take it from you. So again, those that are sort of farmers and, you know, keen growers. I mean, I learned the whole microgreen thing, Mike. I don't know if you've looked into that, but I've got a good setup for microgreens ready to go that I did a couple of harvests of with lots of different things.
Something I've looked into, and it's all on hold till I've got the room.
Yeah. I mean, my shelves are taken over with the Sigma survival gear products now and things anyway, but I can just pull that out and I can use my off-grid solar system that I built to run some. I've got some thingy bob all spectrum LED strips, you know, they're like red and blue light for growing and that. So I've got some of them ready to go as well. So if I wanted to keep it totally secure and stealth so no one could see in and see we were growing microgreens. But they're a great source of nutrition and even protein and fiber and stuff. I've bought things like mung beans, sunflower seed, pea and other things, right? And they're literally 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks from planting a seed, Mike. Right? So even if you're dealing with your nasty, freeze-dried, vacuum-sealed rice. Right. So we've got endless buckets of rice, which has got the oxygen absorber vacuum sealed inside it, right? So they've been depacketed and repacketed in 1 kilo-ish servings, you know what I mean, for the 3 of us. Per week or whatever, do you know what I mean? And then you're having that with your big soup or with your curry chicken or whatever you're doing. Don't be buying, don't be buying stuff that smells strong, because that's not very stealthy if you're trying to homestead and act cool in a crisis, like you ain't got fuck all. And then people smell your bhaji curry coming. Oh fuck me! Someone got. Well, don't be cooking bacon, for fuck's sake. You'll have the whole neighbourhood round.
Same person that microwaves fish in an office.
Oh no, don't even go there. So yeah, that's the animal lover. They tend to come unstuck because they're just so focused on it. And again, there does come a point in time where the amount of energy and effort you're putting into keeping your animals alive, are they putting as much effort or as useful? But make sure you've got as much stuff for your dependents and your pets and, you know, your loved ones as you need for everything else. That was my point. Incrementally, you need the medical supplies. You can just tag that onto vulnerable pets as well. Medical supplies, security and protection. That means not just security and protection for you, your property, but also for your pets and your livestock and things. You see? So the whole point is that you're incrementally lining everything up each step. As you prepare, this is where people come unstuck. They fly ahead and they get like they spend $10,000 on, you know, mountain house freeze-dried food that's good for like a year, and that's it. It'll sit in a cupboard and they go, oh, there you go. I'm prepared now. I can survive for a year. It's like, nah, matey boy, that's just not how it works. This is the gadget geek. Look at the medical supplies. Yeah, not into that. Gadget geeks don't tend to be into whole medical supplies. It's not exciting tech and gadgety enough. Do you know what I mean? Like water and filtration. If anything, I come from more this, if anything, only because of my electronic engineering and product design background. But it's not necessarily gadgets. I suppose it is a little bit, but you can see the gadget geeks generally do much better than most anyway, but they're just these critical things like hunting and growing is more just about having contingencies, because hunting and growing is like practical. Because what you find, you see, like it's reflected in the graphics in my book when I spent a long time creating the characters for each one, right? Getting it just right, how I wanted it and how I saw it in my mind. And you can see the gadget geeks, like your classic, you know, nerdy type geeky dude who's not really into the whole, you know, it's not like a bodybuilder or anything like that, and not necessarily military background for this particular character. But things like they just prefer the tech stuff. They're probably working IT or in an office somewhere. Yeah. Don't have many friends, but they've got a decent budget because they've probably got a good job in IT. Do you know what I mean? Like you're in IT, aren't you? Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, I've not got a good budget though. I've got 5 kids to counter that.
Yeah. They are your gadgets. They are your toys. So yeah, you know, medical supplies because they don't get passionate about it. And hunting and growing is like, oh, going out and getting muddy and dirty. Fuck that. Do you know what I mean? This is the mindset of these people.
I'm seeing something. I'm not seeing something missing on your list. What category does fire extinguishers and things fall in? Are you falling that into hardware and spares?
No, that's security and protection.
Security and protection. Okay.
Yeah, so security tech, weapons, ammo, shields, vests, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, but people often overlook like fire extinguishers.
Big time. Well, and it also includes things like, yeah, carbon monoxide sensors, yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
TVOC, total volatile organic compound sensors as well is important.
Oh, that's falling under protection then, yeah?
Yeah, security and protection. But then this is the shortened list, don't forget. My actual list is 12 categories. So the gadget geek here, look, Continually invest in exciting high-tech gear while often ignoring basic but critical supplies. They might have the latest survival gadgets like the Sigma Prepper Ultimate Hotspot. I had to throw it in there, might you? Come on.
Plug.
Right. If you're gonna write a fucking 350 20-page 320 chapter book, at least throw some plugs in there for your own fucking products as well, right? But lack of medical supplies or sufficient food storage, yeah. A balanced approach that includes both technology and essential survival items is necessary. It's the skills as well, Mike. It's important building those skills. You can't just buy all your bag and your bushcraft gear and just think you can set it up. I've been doing like 2 or 3 bushcraft camps a year for like 15 years, man. Every year I learn some shit new. Every year I find a new way of doing something. Every year I break something. Every year I cut something. Do you know what I mean? Same. So the reality of it is not what people think, yeah? And gadget geeks generally don't get into all that, yeah. But it does say, look, predicted survival outcome. One of the better prepared profiles, but survival past 2 months is unlikely based on limited medical supplies and things like that. And, but yeah, and then you get into the Sigma Prepper. And that is the whole point, yeah? Is you're preparing in a way that's in relative terms to what you need for that period, and each thing means something different in each category. Do you know what I mean? And that's the idea.
To somebody new looking at this, I mean, people probably looking at that thinking, yeah, but I haven't got £35,000 to put into preps. Would you do?
I've never had a budget either.
Would you just travel all of them bars up evenly? So you've got 1 month of everything, 2 months of everything. You just travel
and in my and in the video, the Advanced Principles of Preparedness, which is on my channel, it breaks that down with what I call the incremental prepping, which is designed. Please do subscribe if you haven't, by the way. I just noticed YouTube's taken 3 subscribers off just while we've been talking. I don't think you get that as well, do you? But on my channel...
Yeah, it does.
So here on the Sigma Prepper channel, if you go onto the lives and you go right down the bottom, it's one of the first SHTF scenario shows. And it's this one here. This one above my head. Advanced Principle of Prepping, episode 001, that sets the stage, and it also includes these prepper profiles and stuff, right? Breaking it down, but you're absolutely right. It's about incrementally prepping to the point where, because the idea is, you see, is that in this, I'm not sure I've still got that chapter in here because I'm pulling it out into a separate book now, some other part of it. But we'll see what it says about the Sigma Prepper. If it will let me. I think it's trying to scroll down the page. We'll wait until it's finished doing its thing. We'll see what people are saying in the chat as well, because we've been ignoring them. Rabbits need greens added to the meals to avoid starvation from malnutrition. Yeah. Snake is good food, also good for belts, like, and shoes, I've heard. good for that as well. But this is the summary for the Sigma Prepper, where you've incrementally prepped. And I do a thing where there's like the 7-day prep list, the 1 month prep list, the 6 month and 12 month, right? And they're completely and utterly different stuff. That's the concept that I go into detail about, right? So the ideal prepper, the Sigma Prepper, has well-rounded approach to preparedness. They ensure they have all vital elements covered, from food and water to security, medical supplies and energy. This profile aims to be somewhat comfortable during a 12 to 18 months of complete disaster, avoiding the pitfalls of less balanced approaches. Somewhat comfortable riding out 12 to 18 months of complete disaster. No squirrels on sticks for us. Is the whole point.
It's a delicacy.
Isn't it? Isn't it? And so that's how I translated that whole show and principle of the prepper profiles into my book, to do it that way. Do you know what I mean? And again, it's linked in here, and you can click that. And so this book will be available in 2025 in the new year. I've got one last chapter to finish, Surviving World War III. But that's all part of what we're doing anyway. So with these,
the movies would say you've missed one, and so would the chat, it seems. They've all talked about Long Pig. Where's the cannibal prepper?
They would just be the commando because they got no other option. once their guns jammed and broken, they've like had all their ammo stolen. They had no contingency plans. It's like, oh shit, you know. Because bear in mind, you're going to be dealing with like gangs of people, man. You're going to be on your own dealing with gangs of people. Yeah. So you're going to need more than just, you know. And you can do it without having to have loads and loads of people is the key, if you know what you're doing, right? But it's not the sort of stuff they train in the army. It's the sort of stuff they train James Bond. You know, he can drive a tank, he can fly a plane, he can fly a helicopter, he's trained to ride a motorbike, he's trained to do, driving techniques. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're so well-rounded because they have to be, because they operate alone. Classic Sigma styly. Yeah? So that's the SHTF scenarios segments that I do. That was I don't know if you've seen that video, Mike, have you? But do you like that concept? Do you understand what I was trying to teach there?
Yeah, and you do. People might not instantly drop into a category jar, but you can see similarities in the way some people prep. I mean, I can literally go through them character types that you've put there and point you to 6 or 7 of my podcasts, and you can say that's one of them, that's 100%. One of them, that's one of them. So yeah, I can see where it's
and imagine that on steroids and fentanyl over like 15-20 years of just observing people and talking to people. And I've done a lot of simulation training with people where you're going through. That's why I ended up calling my shows the SHTF scenarios, because that's kind of what it is, you know what I mean? And I find it really helpful to go through the scenario as though it was happening and think through each detail day by day, hour by hour, and analyze it and understand what the threats are going to be, what they're likely to come from. And therefore, once you know that, you know how you can prepare against it. And so if somebody knows they've got a tendency to lean a little bit towards the kitchen queen as an individual, then they just look at it and say, yeah, do you know what? Maybe for every 15% of my budget I spend on food, I'll take 15% of that budget is what I recommend to put towards security. Yeah, so if you're spending £1,000 on preps, let's say, or $1,000, it's translatable. So if you're spending $1,000 on food, right, you need to be spending $150 on ways to protect that. Do you see? And for $150, you can get a few bits and pieces, right, to protect. Equally, if you're spending $10,000 on your preps, a good 15% of that should be your total budget should be security and protection. You with me?
Yeah.
And so $1,500 is a fair amount to spend. You can get several firearms with that. You can get quite a few decent sort of CCTV wireless systems that can run from an off-grid battery bank, plus the off-grid battery bank you would need as part of that separately, right? Because that comes under energy and fuel, yeah? So security and protection is specific for a reason. And communications is separate from that as well, typically, in my own personal group of 12, right? So you've got communications and tech is its own category. Yeah, so you've got security and protection, because that includes protective clothing, shields, yeah? CCTV, do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Whereas communications is its own category because it's a lot in itself, yeah? And then there's vehicles and navigation, right? Stuff like that. So it's all broken down, but it's listed in order of what's going to log you out of the admin first. So bug out bags at the top, because you need that straight away no matter what, because what's most likely is people get told they've got to evacuate. Yeah. They give you 45 minutes, just so you know. In America, it's 45 minutes to pack everything you need and go. So you're better off spending a couple of days deciding what you want to put in your bug out bag, rather than having the sheriff or the fire department knocking on your door saying there's been a fucking oil spill up the road and you've got 45 minutes to pack a fucking bag and get out. Yeah, that's the reality of it. So you just start with that. And then it's shelter, yeah? 3 hours without shelter, logged out the admin, right? So then it's shelter and stuff, and then obviously water, and then food. So that's kind of how it goes. So yeah, bug out bag. You've got home and shelter, water storage and filtration, food supply and storage, hunting and growing, So this is in order what's going to log you out the most. Medical and medical health, off-grid energy and fuel, security and protection, communication and tech, vehicles and navigation, knowledge and skills, economic and financial. Now, the thing is that this is why in my book it will be arranged in a clock with 12 segments, right? Because it's not necessarily a linear thing, as we've seen. It's not like you go, right, let's go and get a water filter first because, 3 days without water and I'm fucked. Right? And then, but if your budget will only allow you to buy one thing each month, is the point, right? Then start with a bug out bag's worth of shit. Yeah? And there'll be a whole thing for that. I'll do it for people. I'm sure you've done some stuff as well, Mike, on your channel, UK Urban Prepper.
I mean, it's worth mentioning as well. Bug out bags and get home bags are very personal.
Yeah, 100%.
And people should realise this, because you watch a video of someone prepping a bug out bag, their bug out location or their get home distance might be 10 miles. Yours might be 100. I learnt the hard way. I test my preps. I go out and do it, and I've done hikes, and I did that huge hike and stuff like that, and you learn a lot of lessons. So it's very personal. Watch multiple videos on it. Watch mine, watch Drew's, watch everyone else's, and come up with something that fits your scenario, but then test it. Even if you're testing it like Drew says, theoretically, where you sit there and you go through the scenario hour by hour, what's next, what happened, blah blah blah. Either way, as long as you're kind of putting that to the test.
100%. And you know what? One of the most well-received one I ever did was this grid down scenario one, which is number 2 there. It's worth watching that as well. That breaks down. No one had ever done anything like that before. And I actually created a chapter in my book. I've also got my, you've played along with the Sigma Prepper quiz, haven't you, Mike? Yeah? I've translated that into my interactive ebook. No one can figure out how I've done this because it's not. This is taking what you can do with interactive PDF with like steroids and fentanyl. I like pushing the boundaries, Mike, right? It's like, no, there's got to be a fucking way. 3 weeks later of banging my head against it, I figured it out. Look, incorrect, try again. It will work on all PCs and things like that. On some smart devices, it's a bit, you know what I mean? But again, you can click and you go down to the answers at the back. So, yeah, which of these battery technologies has the highest self-discharge rate? Lead acid. Correct. Right? If you click the wrong one, incorrect. Sorry, please try again. Try again. It resets it, right? Come on, tell me you're impressed, Mike. Yeah? Tell me my 3 weeks of trying to get that shit figured out as part of my interactive prepping guide. Otherwise, there's no point calling it the ultimate prepping guide if it's not the ultimate, is it? You know what I mean?
The best thing is, it took you 3 weeks on a PDF, and if you'd have just done it on a website with JavaScript, it'd have been 2 seconds.
I know, but of course, I wanted it to be a PDF. They could keep it on their smart device. They could keep it on their tablet. Do you know what I mean? And they can refer to it when the shit's hitting the fan out there, and they're all chilled out because of Sigma Prepper and Drew's helped them through. Yeah, stick with Sigma Prepper and we'll make it through the night. Yeah, so boom, this is a chapter here talking about what we were just talking about, Mike, for exactly that reason. You're so right. Boom, this is like one of the chapters in the book, right? What the hell? Who turned out the lights? Right, this is one of the SHTF scenarios. I took my what was received so well as one of my SHTF scenario presentations and did it as a chapter in the book, right? So, and just like that, out of the blue, without warning, you're plunged into complete grid down darkness. Boom, everyone's lives are changed in an instant, all at the same time. Brace yourself as we journey through the darkness, analysing the collapse of critical infrastructures, the surge in crime and desperation, and the stark reality of survival in a world where the lights don't come back on. This is not just a hypothetical scenario, it's a wake-up call to the vulnerabilities we face in today's interconnected world. What do you think, Mike? Are you ready to dive into the... Yeah? Critical alert. And do you know what, Mike? You reminded me of it when you're talking about the get home bag. Yeah? Because that was why I made this SHF scenario at the time when I did the show about it. 8:42 a.m. Right? A nationwide grid down scenario begins. Welcome to Sigma Prepper's SHF scenarios. And this chapter will make take a deep dive into complete grid down scenario, right? This scenario exercise helps us to understand the sequence of events and the cascading failures that can occur, allowing us to better prepare, right? So I take it through day by day for 14 days, and I give you the possible causes of something like this, whether it's a military EMP, a cyber attack, or solar flare. That's all linked up there as well to go and learn more about a Carrington event, right? It just gives a little situation report on what's going on, just so you understand that with a grid down scenario, we're talking inoperable sewage systems. You need to be visualize. Close your eyes, Wolfpack. Right? If you're live with us now, close your eyes and just imagine this is what we're chatting about. Right? Inoperable sewage systems, no flushing of toilets. Sorry about your luck. Good luck with that. We've had that before, Mike, in Thailand. Inoperable water systems, complete, as in you turn your faucets and your taps, nothing comes out. Complete cell and internet outage. No energy, no grid, no cell towers, no nothing. Major transport disruptions, all trade and commerce ceased. There's no JIT system, there's no nothing, right? So it basically goes through it all, day one. And it's here, look. Global conflict has escalated. Our enemies have launched a catastrophic cyber attack on our national electric grid. The cyber attack has overloaded and disabled all substations around the country, leaving our entire nation without power for an indefinite amount of time. So where are you now? Who are you with? What do you do next? You've probably just dropped your kids off at school and you're at work. Imagine that. Yeah? So it just goes through what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's some stuff here about what you should do first of all before anything, right? And then it gets into day 2 and the crisis escalates, roads are gridlocked, schools are closed, air travel cancelled, stores have limited stock and so on, right? So it just breaks it down. Day 3, reality sets in because most people's mobile phones are flat out of juice now, right? Even if you've taken my advice on the first section of this, talking about putting your phone on airplane mode because there's no cell tower, so you're just beaming out needlessly, turning your Bluetooth off, your GPS off, do you know what I mean? Turn the screen brightness right to minimum. Even doing that, you're out of juice on your smartphones on day 3, Mike. You know what I mean? Especially, most fuckers ain't even got a flashlight. Ain't even got a torch in the house. They're using their mobile phones for like the last 3 days for a torch. This is the reality, man. Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Look, on day 3, look, even the ankle bracelets are offline. Yeah, the ankle tags that the police put on for curfew. So now those criminals are like fucking open season, man.
Freedom.
Right, and then day 4, people start setting their houses on fire and stuff because they're not used to using lanterns and candles and shit. Yeah.
We call this natural selection.
Yeah. By now, the mains water's totally dropped to nothing, right? Because the pumps ain't working, police presence on the streets, blah, 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 right? Daytime riots increase, hospitals struggling. So basically breaks it all down day by day. It's fascinating stuff, man. And when you break it down, you really start to appreciate just how fragile society is. And there's a great film, going back to what you said earlier, Mike, it's a great question about any films that have influenced you. And I think one that gave me a kick up the arse, Mike, and a boost was the one that me and Sandy both enjoyed watching, which was the Channel 4 Grid Down one. Tell me what it was, Sandy. I forget what the name of it was. Rats Rule in the House. Great to see you. Originally south of England. Great to have you with us. My big sister, Rats Rule, was originally from southeast of England, as I am, but she's now in Canada. So, she's in Toronto. Oh, did I tell you, Mike? She's not in Toronto, actually. She's in England. And me and Xavier are going to be visiting her, my son.
Oh, nice.
Going to be visiting on. Do you remember I said the other week about I've got an urban survival adventure coming up to London on Monday? Yeah.
All right. Are you going?
Yeah, man. I've got to try and survive. I've got to not get maced. This is the deal I've made with the Wolfpack, right? I've got to not get maced, not get tased, not get phone snatched, and not get fucked up. As long as I'm. All that. But Hugo Bear won't be coming with me this time. Like, he loves it on the train. He really loves it on the train, Hugo does. Blackout, thank you, John C. Yeah, have you seen that? Blackout, Channel 4? It's quite old now. Yeah, it's brilliant, man. Yeah.
It's funny because it's based, like a lot of the footage is based around what I would call a plastic prepper, like a YouTube prepper that's not actually prepared because he's negated all that security side of things. And he's cooking outside on day 2 or something. It's just...
They're the sort of people who copy preppers like you and me, Mike, and then do a video about it, but don't truly understand the concept because they never actually originally came up with it, and then they just totally fucking hash it up. It's like, just send them a link to my channel, will you? You know what I mean? It's like, it's embarrassing. But no, it's cool, because as long as more and more people are learning, but it's about them learning the right way, isn't it? This is the point, man. Also, hello to your sister. We visited, actually, Rats Rule, 2018. We went to Canada to go and visit her. Spent several weeks in Canada, went to Niagara Falls, spent some time in one of the biggest lakes around there. That was cool. It's like a beach. Have you done much traveling, Mike?
I've been to the States. I've been to Calgary in Canada.
Oh yes, I remember you saying you've been to the States. Yeah. I really want to go.
I would move to Texas tomorrow.
Would you?
I've been to Italy. I've been quite around mostly Europe and the States.
I'm super chuffed you got to see America, man. I'm really lovely going to see Canada, and my sister's super high up, one of the biggest law firms on the planet, actually. Director of innovations, so she does a lot of flying around with all the branches and stuff all the time, all over America and Canada, all over the place. She's always flying somewhere, so she builds up loads and loads of air miles, and bless her cotton socks, she basically pays for family members every year to come out just with the free air miles. How cool is that? Makes you wonder how far she's flying all the time, doesn't it, mate? Hey?
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to my book coming out, Mike?
Of course.
You'll get extra special mates rates and signed copy. No, I'll send you. I'll be actually great to send you a copy when I'm finished the final chapter, just to get your feedback on it and see what you think, man.
I'd offer you a T-shirt, but I've never seen you wear one.
No, especially not this time of year. We will be back into T-shirts when we get into summertime, but yeah, wintertime it's either onesies. It's
usually a shirt or something.
Yeah, well, that's when it not for Campfire Catch-up. It's a bit more relaxed and chill. If we're doing global threat analysis, is usually that's usually a bit more posh.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. I say cheers, everyone. I don't actually even have any tea left. I'm just pretending.
It's acting quality.
Have you ever been in the movies or anything, Mike? For real?
I've been on TV 3 times, but
have
not
you?
an actual...
As an extra or something?
I've been on The Big Breakfast twice.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow.
And I've been on Granada News.
Did you see Gabby?
It was when was it? It was Denise Van Outen days.
Oh, even better, man. With John.
Where are you?
No, what's his name?
It was.
Yeah, man. Do you know, I was a DJ in a nightclub back in the day, and there was a film production company in the university in my hometown. It was famous for knocking out film directors. Yeah, as in not knocking them out, but as in producing great film directors at the university that was in my city that I grew up in. And so the local nightclub, the city nightclub, which I was a DJ at, they had hired the nightclub to do one of the scenes or something for this Channel 4. It was like a Channel 4 thing, but it's actually part of this director's final exam as well, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And they get a certain budget of £150,000 or something. It's decent enough to do something with, but it's not like fucking Hollywood box office shit, right? You ain't doing Snatch.
No.
Right.
More Blair Witch.
You ain't doing Lock, Stock, right, with that budget.
More Blair Witch project.
But they hired the nightclub that I was a DJ at, and so the club owner said to me, Brian, he says to me, can you come along? And they needed extras anyway, Mike. They were short, I think. They were paying £35 a day for people. And I was paid my nightclub rate as though it was a normal thing, but it was like 12 hours, man. To get 45 seconds of film, 12 hours, with like all the train tracks, sort of, they're called dolly tracks, but people think they're train tracks. They're going across the nightclub dance floor with the camera. And they had one going right up to the bar, and there was a man and a woman at the bar, and the camera had to go up, like a dolly tracking shot, right? But the funny thing is that everybody had to make one drink last all day. because it wasn't in the budget. It wasn't in the budget for everyone to have drinks. Everyone got one drink, and you had to like stir it up a bit to make it frothy. Because of course you got to worry about continuity, Mike, right? Because if they're doing a retake or something, and then you go past one scene from that angle, and that dude's got this much in there, and then they go from that angle, you suddenly got that much in there. It's a problem, innit? You know what I mean? It's like, how do you fucking sweep that so quick without us looking? Yeah, from one frame cut to the other, right? So yeah, I mean, nasty. I feel like the same here, where my tea at this point is simply nothing more than a prop, because there's none left and it's freezing cold. Cheers, everyone. I think we should do a, how long we've been going? We've been going ages, man. We've been going ages. I'm sorry, Mike. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? Do we do another break and come back for a little bit and do some other stuff, or what? What do you think? How are you feeling about it? Blackout Britain, thank you, Sandy. Channel 4.
I'm easy. I'm easy.
Because I'm easy. Squadron leader of 43 driving an F3 got himself into a tangle with a tic-tac, but don't tell anyone. Don't know what that's about, Amphi. Sounds interesting, though. Disaster never strikes at a convenient time. Yeah. As I always say, as Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face. Or a plan never survives contact with the enemy. A plan never survives for first contact with the enemy. Yeah, is another one. But this is what I'm saying, man. It's more important about being dynamic. This is what I say about you got to be across the board, man. And then it gives you the way to flow.
Yeah, planning is good.
Yeah,
planning is good because it gives you the mindset and it gives you a rough, approximate direction you want to be going in. But you'll never go. Anyone who's experienced having kids and childbirth will know nothing ever goes according to plan.
No, and that's what you can rely on, right? Is things things hitting the fan, and this is why you just need to become more dynamic so that you can think on the spot. You can overcome your survival instincts of freeze, fawn, fight, and flee, and stuff like this, where people get stuck, or do you know what I mean? Is when you overcome that, because you've got all the options and you've already run through your head like at least 95%. If you've spent enough grey matter on it, you've already thought through 95% of contingencies if you have the depth and the detail enough to think these things through. And for those that can't, that's what I'm trying to do, to help think all those things through and to break down the details, which is why a lot of my videos end up being as long as they are, because they kind of fucking need to be. It's a complicated topic, man. And if people... when people understand things, truly understand things, they understand the concepts of things, and then they can adapt the principles, right, to their own lives, to their own leads, because like you say, man, you got a bunch of kids. We've got one who's fighting age male, army cadet trained, super useful, do you know what I mean, and represents the country as a marksman. Whereas when you've got newborns and you've got, these sorts of things, it's a different scenario. But again, so you're going to prep differently to me. The same as, one of my best friends there, Sandy. She's prepping very differently because she's in a wheelchair and she's not, she's not as mobile as the rest of us, for any period of time. And so there's things that I've helped her ways to adapt and to use things as leverage. So that she can keep up with everyone else at least and do better than them, without even having to get out of her chair. So it's not about relying on tech, but some people have to, Mike. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? Because tech, and I talked to Sandy about this today earlier, actually, because I saw this comment on there. They go, oh, you seem like you're more into the tech. It's like, no, not at all, because tech is everything. Fuck me. A lighter is technology. Yeah? Quick drying synthetic materials is technology, for crying out loud. Yeah? The special PU compound that they make on your special survival shoes is technology. Do you know what I mean? And so the whole point is to use what's there to help you to survive. And to say, relying on tech too much would assume that then if you take all tech away, then what do you think I do bushcraft camping for? And I'm carving spoons out of fucking wood, like I was showing the other day.
Yeah, that's it. It's about use whatever you've got. You'd be stupid to have the tech and think,
100%.
well, I'm going to use my wooden spoon because I'm low tech.
And I had this conversation every year on bushcraft camp with a few of my mates, because one of them was like super hardcore bushcraftsman, whereas I was more sort of tactical. Survival is different to bushcraft. I do both because for me, the bushcraft missions that I do, particularly now when I do them solo for the last like 5 years, I've done them solo now, which is far more challenging because there's a lot of mental control you need to have. Yeah. When you're totally on your own in the middle of the woods, like at night with loads of weird fucking sounds going on everywhere and shit. You know, most people can't handle it, dude. They can't handle it. You know, some people, like there's 3 of my mates came along, Mike, to our bushcraft camps, and there was only 3 of us that used to go consistently. And there was 3 other guys that tried to come along, and every one of them got freaked out. Whether it was the creepy crawlies or the noises at night, or always paranoid thinking that, like, you know?
You know what, if somebody else is there, that's even better. I mean, try doing it solo, completely solo, like no one else, not on a campsite, just like wild camping in the middle of nowhere with nobody else around. That's when you can be freaked out by noises and stuff. But if you've got 3 people there, there's no excuse.
Yeah. But, you know, this is why a lot of my product designs for survival gear, right, are all designed around things that allow you to be a Sigma prepper, allow you to be self-reliant and not have to rely on all your neighbors and some big gang on a compound of commandos. You can do just as well as them if you've got the right tech. And so it's not about relying on tech, it's about tech giving you a strategic and tactical advantage over even the commandos. Yeah? And so because that tech comes in the form of security, protection, ballistics, protection, materials like Kevlar. These are all technology. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like I say, you'd be foolish not to utilize something that's available.
Yeah. And if you're on
the desert island, then plastic bottles that wash up on the beach are all useful. Everything useful.
Yeah. But this is it. If you're learning the right principles about things, then you're already going to have those fundamental skills before you start doing the other stuff, right? The things that I design as my prototyping products and things, I mean, do you know, my TIA, my tactical intelligence assistant, which luckily didn't get T on it today, when I spilled my Friday the 13th accident. I must get her booted up. But this is partly a lot of what she does as it's like a command center station for bugging out, right? And homesteading, where you've got remote sensors and PIRs you can put around, and atmospheric sensors and you know, carbon monoxide sensors and things. It all feeds back to my main AI centralized system, which is offline completely. It's my own code, my own circuits. And part of that is because when I go on camp, and it's all very well if I'm on my own and I know kind of what I'm doing. If I'm there with my family because we've had to bug out and it's got epic, then I'm going to need force multipliers like my system, where I can strap some PIRs to some trees like 100, 200 meters out, you know, and I can have heads up warning as to what direction someone's coming from before they know that I even know that they know they're there. Do you know what I mean? Intelligence in terms of your knowledge of your environment is so important when you've got a small group. Yeah, you see it all the time in the movies. You talk about movies, Mike, that inspire people, right? There's plenty of movies where, you know, there's an individual like the James Bond thing, right, where they go in there and they've got all the skills, they set all things up, and they've got all the intelligence in terms of what the understanding of the environment, the situation, and the enemy, and the weaknesses and the strengths, you know? That's what it's about. You know, it's about being a bit more strategic in your approach to preparedness, and that if that means that a titanium spoon in your bug out bag is better than a stainless steel spoon, yeah, because it's lighter, stronger, doesn't corrode, yeah, but it's more expensive, and oh, you just care about technology with a titanium. No, I'm the one carrying my pack. I know how heavy all those spoons add up to at the end of it. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like to deny technology is to say, don't have a titanium spoon, you have to have a wooden spoon. The fuck? You know? So
complete deny technology, you wouldn't have a spoon, full stop.
Well, do you know, funnily enough, when I was showing the other day, actually, I think it's here still. Is it on the shelf? Yeah. Like, I've done a few spoons, right? But the problem is, Mike, like, I think this is my latest one that I did maybe 2 years ago, this spoon. But even then, I mean, I tried to get a bit more shape in this one I've done before, a little more ladle-like, yeah. I've kept the whittled look. But I had to use technology to make this spoon, ironically, because I got a special spoon carving fucking knife. You know, it's like, you don't just get your thing and start digging it out. It's like a proper thing. You know, it's a tool. I was just looking because it's funny. I'm putting a video together at the moment. I'm going to be launching memberships. I've got it all set up, ready to go. Just got to do a community post about it. But I'm planning to do like a 2025 promo video. I got a bunch of footage together. I think I've got some in here for, what did I call it? Spoon. Clues in the word, Drew. I've got some. This was some of the footage of me making it. So this is just using my Mora knife at this point. I've drawn the pattern of the spoon and I'm cutting around it. This is kind of how
cutting towards your thumb, Drew.
But it started off as this, look. How exciting. Today I'm going to be making a spoon. So this is yeah. I'll just kill that because it's going to get annoying. Listening to one of me is already bad enough, Mike. Two of me at the same time, come on.
Oh,
so yeah, my mate made that. It's cool as fuck, and it all collapses apart. You see, and comes apart, and you can get 2 people on it. We used to cut some big old logs, man.
Yeah. I've used to use the bore saws, the reenacting and stuff. The old bore saws.
Right. Yeah.
Cut down trees. Huge.
But I mean, I cut it down with the axe, basically, right? I'm pretty good with my axe. You know, cutting it into basically a flat piece is essentially how it goes. Where does it go to next? This kind of thing. So yeah, you get the bark off it, you know. So I took most of it down using the using my axe, which I quite like. And then when it gets to a certain point, it becomes a bit more of a pain in the ass. Where's the one where... See, and you can tell how long it took me, Mike, because now when I'm doing a spoon carving bit, look, it's nighttime. And I haven't stopped all day. Yeah? All day. Did you see the spoon though? Look.
Yeah.
It's like a special spoon carving knife, yeah? I bought a real nice set. I didn't buy a set, I just bought 3 different knives that I really like, really good quality ones. And you have to work it around like that. It's really difficult, but you've got to work on it fast because this is green wood, right? As it starts to dry out, it becomes more and more hard. So you need to form the spoon before it dries out, basically. So that's why I do. You can't leave it till the next day. It's like, nah, you got to get it done, man, because you try and pick that fucker up the next day with a knife and it's like, forget about it, man. This spoon is forever going to look like this. I mean, yeah, you know, because I can't be chiseling any more out of it. It's just a nightmare. But I was thinking about sanding it down, but I decided I quite like. So the point is that for those who don't know me, I'm not just like rely on the tech. On the contrary, I'm doing bushcraft as you get bushcrafts, right? Most people I know who do prepping channels have never done wild camping solo before in their life, let alone stealthy where they shouldn't be and shit. For me, that's a test. That's why I call it a simulation. If I'm trying to hide from the train driver that goes past, I'm trying to hide from the odd farmer and tractor that goes past every now and then. I'm trying to hide from the odd person who's taking their dog for a walk and going down the footpath. Because where I stay is perfectly okay because there's a footpath, it's public footpath. But it means I've got to be stealthy as fuck. But it means that it helps me to simulate what it would be like in a crisis, you know, where you've got people roaming about. You're trying to keep stealth. Is one of the biggest protective measures you can take if no one knows you're there. This is why I love my Kelly kettle, yeah, for doing the fires, because it's far more contained. You can control the light. I've got one of those open up, foldable, stainless steel sort of wind guard things, Mike. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah. Yeah. The wind breaks.
So, yeah, which you don't need for a Kelly kettle because of the inherent design of the Kelly kettle makes it not a big deal. For those who don't know what a Kelly kettle is, basically, there's a video here I did about the ultimate guide to the ultimate fire in a Kelly kettle, if it will ever load. And so, yeah, for those that don't know, it's basically hollow in the middle, so the water goes all the way around the inside. I think I'll pick it up in a minute and show for those that aren't familiar. But it means when the fire's going inside it, you see, it keeps the light to a minimum, right? Yeah. So, you know, you've got the fire in the fire base. It's all controlled. I put stones down as well to stop there any chance of any root fires going underground. People don't even consider that. I saw a real popular prepper, let's just say, making a fire in the woods, and it was a proper rooty place, and they didn't have proper stones down, let alone mine's in a fire base as well, the Kelly kettle. So when I leave, there's no sign of everything left behind, you see? Because all of my ash and everything's contained in that fire base. And so you've got minimal light. If you know how to get the right wood and using the right amount of it, you can limit the number of flames and stuff that are coming out the top at night time, because I've got to be careful. You know, I've
been in the habit of digging a fire pit more than anything else. Usually, dig out like 4 squares, fold them over, so they're like a barrier around the outside, so they don't burn any grass. Once you finish with your fire, you turn them in, stamp it down, and there's no trace whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the root fires that can catch you out. Where you got trees around, the roots are underground.
Oh yeah, because in Blaenau, in North Wales, when I was there was Japanese knotweed.
Oh,
and that burns underground. What people don't realize.
Yeah, exactly. Root fires, man.
Deposits. And you can set a fire here, and 3 miles down the road, a forest fire starts because of what you did.
Do you ever watch Steve Wallace? He's absolutely awesome. Day Survival. What a great shout out to Steve Wallace. I think he's actually one of my channels on my Sigma Prepper. Oh, I should add you on as well as one of my recommended channels and stuff. There's like Wild Bear as well. She's great. I'd love to have Wild Bear on. Mrs. Sigma Prepper thinks that I fancy her. I don't fancy her. I just really admire the fact that she's a woman. I don't know if she's single, but she's a woman and she does proper bug out solo camping like I do. And in some cases, even more extreme, man, in the middle of fucking Scotland and shit where it's like hailstorm. With just a tarp. She's hardcore, man. Wild Bear. You got to check her out.
Wild Bear?
Wild Bear,
oh,
yeah.
Yes. I've seen it.
Spelled B-E-A-R-E, is it, or something?
Yeah. I've seen her, yeah. I think I've sent her a message, but she's too big to come on the Prepper podcast.
Yeah, I know. I've been following her since I was following her since she had about 500 subscribers. I should have reached out then. But this is how she looks, look, Wild Bear. Yeah. But she's proper hardcore, man. She's not fair play.
One at the top, the stranded one, and she got I was expecting more, but she was dropped off, but she was using a phone as sat nav, so I was a bit disappointed.
Oh yeah. But fair play, man. I really respect.
Find your way home without the phone.
I really respect the example she gives to a lot of my. Like I say, I'm quite unique this channel in terms it's about 50-50. It's a very high percentage of women who follow this channel, and I think it's because I try and make it as accessible as possible, and because I'm trying to be useful to the average Joe rather than just commandos who already know all that shit. Because that's the other thing as well, Mike, don't forget. If you're appealing to your military commandos, well, you got the easiest job you've picked. I've picked the most difficult job, which is to help people who've got no skill of anything. Just a normal average Joe, whether it's a gadget geek or a kitchen queen or, do you know what I mean? It's about just the average person who's had no military training, wasn't in Cubs, Scouts and Cadets and all that as a young lad, wasn't out there in the woods with his mates doing fishing and shit at the weekend with his air rifles like, you know, we all did as lads growing up. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone's had that life, Mike, you know? Not everyone's had adversity. Not everyone's travelled the world. Not everyone's been in crisis before. And so what I specialise in is the people who are just normal people, and it's a much more difficult task to take on because you're dealing with people who ain't got a clue about, you know, there's so many unknown unknowns for them, let alone the known unknowns and the known knowns. You know, So, you know, it's more difficult for me. This is why my shows end up being 2-3 hours long, is because a lot of what I talk about is about the mindset, it's about the principles, about the way of looking at the problem. Yeah, because they're all just problems that need to be solved, and there is a solution for each of these things. Some of these solutions require me to design and produce new tech because it doesn't exist yet. Like my hotspot, right? You know, my internet survival hotspots, because people don't appreciate how useful it is or how fatal it will be to not even be able to search for anything when the grid goes down. I don't think people have actually thought through in their head how much they use Google to just go on Wikipedia to look something up or to figure something out for something you're trying to grow or some wound you're trying to stitch. All that's gone. If you don't have it on your shelf, you don't have it. And even having it on your shelf doesn't help, because if you've got a bug out, you can't take a fucking bookshelf with you. Yeah? Yeah. So like my hotspot's got like 60,000 books included on it, as well as the 6.2 million pages of Wikipedia, and another 4 million pages of the medical wiki, and all the SAS survival guides, plus all the forbidden knowledge files, which is stuff like survival
Jolly
stuff.
Roger.
Survival stuff. But yeah, so that was the reason for designing that, is because the worst thing is to just, we've got a whole bookshelf full of stuff. Magic Hand's right into the whole prepping books and stuff. She's a big reader herself. I'm more practical. I like to think things through and then come up with solutions for it. And then my next bug out bushcraft camp is where I test my shit. Like this year was testing my new electronic water filtration system, you know, like I did with the USB powered pump and that. Yeah, water pump. And again, that's more tactical. It's not because it's relying on technology. It's just because, anyone can just bend down in the lake and scoop up water out of the lake. But the point is that I don't have to. And all the while you're doing that, because what I learned last year, Mike, is the time it took me to be standing over the jetty trying to get down low enough to scoop water up into my collapsible container took 3.5 minutes. I know, because I put a camera on a tripod and recorded me doing it, and when I was speeding it up in the edit, it was 3 minutes and 12 seconds of me fucking not paying attention, not looking behind me. And I thought, bloody hell, if there was a bunch more people coming up to go to the lake, and it would be in a scenario like that, then I would have been done 4 times and wouldn't have even seen them coming. So the whole point of my USB powered water pump is so that I can just fling that in there, even if it's much lower down than I can reach, doesn't matter, it can suck it up. And while it's doing it, I can sit back and just keep watch out, while my water containers are filling up by themselves in peace. Have a cigarette, keeping watch out. It's not just having tech for the sake of having tech, it's so that, again, guess what? Sigma prepper. It means that I can go there on my own, and I don't have to be having someone else watch my back because I'm too busy bending over the lake, not paying attention to scoop water out of the lake. Do you know what I mean? They're just problems to solve. So like over fucking Christmas last year, it's like after getting home from camp, thinking I could do without that, and trying to reach down that far was a bit of an arsehole. I'll tell you what. 12 volt pump, let's rig it up with a little circuit board to boost the USB up to 12 volt and get it rocking and see if it works. I tested it in lab conditions and it seemed to work fine. So I was like, you know what? Job done. And it's the same as everything else before that, it's just like with my little, my wireless PIR motion sensor, like wireless doorbells basically that run on AA batteries. Even that just gives you a little bit more of a peace of mind when you're on your own in the middle of the woods at like 2 a.m. and you've got weird sounds and shit. If I don't hear my PIR sensors going from all the ways that you can get in and out, I know I'm good in the hood and I get a nice cozy night's sleep. You know what I mean? On my own. So it's just more difficult. Which is why, if there's technology that can allow you to have a more comfortable time than it needs to be, then why wouldn't you, man? Who said surviving had to be uncomfortable, dude? Did you get that memo? Because I fucking didn't. I thought, I want to survive Hollywood in style, man. Oh, how long have we been going? Way too long, 3 hours. I do apologise, everyone. That wasn't what I was planning for tonight at all. Oops, Wild Bears Baps videos, is it? Whittling knives are definitely finely craft tools, yeah. And again, that's technology, innit? So you're still going to have your knives with you. 3D printing and FreeCAD has helped me prepping. Yeah, brilliant one. You can solve a lot of problems with that. Yeah. And, you know, some people have hobbies that can help them as well, Mike. You know, some people have got drones and things, right? Small drones which you can use as reconnaissance, you know?
Yeah. It's on the wish list.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, not so much for reconnaissance. Well, it will be. It could be used for that, but I just quite like the drone panning shots because
absolutely
make my videos a bit more movie quality.
Thank you, Daily Survival. Your offline internet hotspot is the most valuable prep item I own. Thank you, my darling. To be honest, it's one of mine. My off-grid power bank system is probably one of mine. I've got quite a few different solar solutions and things, but I really like my microgreen setup. I really love my first aid kit. I put a lot of work into that as well. I want to learn suturing.
I've got more first aid than one household should.
Really? Well, you tend to have with kids as well, didn't you, Mike? This is it, right? Anyone who's had kids has like usually got at least some form of first aid kit in the cupboard.
Did you see my Christmas video? I've prepped.
Oh, your wish list thing.
No, I've prepped for 6 family members. Their present this year is first aid kits for the car.
Oh wow, cool.
Because none of them prep. Everyone keeps saying, "How do I get my family to prep?" I'm just like, "Well, prep for them." So they're all getting that as a Christmas gift. Because when I went on the family do,
and a soy mini filter.
No, I want that next year. But I went to the family do, and they needed a first aid kit, and there was none in this Airbnb, which is obviously great. And I pulled it out of the car, and they're all like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So I'm like, "Right, that's your Christmas sorted."
It's a good idea, though. I mean, you've got to lead by example, right? And if you just... And what I love about that, it's a little bit like buying someone a lottery ticket. You know, when you're buying someone a lottery ticket for their birthday, because if they win, what a cool fucking birthday gift that was, right? It's a little bit like that. I see...
Come back if they win.
I see that with every show I do, Mike. I think every show I do, every video I make, every book that I write that gets out there and people learn from, if there's just one thing that someone picks up, one little thing that I say that triggers their mindset or that makes them deal with a situation when it happens differently that results in success and they survive, is that same gift. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? It's like you're giving them a gift of life in this case. Yeah? Because something that they've done differently that they wouldn't have ordinarily done because I've given them some insight or something has meant that they've come out the other side of it. You know, that's the cool part, right? That's what makes it super cool, is that if we're right, Mike, if we get it right, the new lich, it's almost like saving lives. Yeah,
I mean, I'm under no illusions that there's going to be some hard decisions to make if SHCF Teotihuacan happens, right? Because you can't bring your entire... I've got a massive extended family with her side, my side, and stuff like that. There's no way I could bring them all in my house. There's no way I could prepare for them all. But just to know you've given them a bit of a head start over other people, and it's kind of set up in the way where it encourages them to fill it more than I have, because there's space in there, you know what I mean? So,
do you know the way I see it, Mike? Because it's like, probably the clearest analogy would be just like, it's like we're on the Titanic, Mike, you and I, yeah? And we've just got a heads up. We've just got a heads up from Matey Boy down below decks. And he's told us, guys, this fucking thing's sinking, guaranteed. You've got an hour, and you know, you've got like a couple of days max, and it's going to be sunk completely, right? Because it's been calculated. No one else knows this. But we know the water's going to be cold. We can think ahead that far. We know that people are going to need to be able to swim to survive. Our job really is to make sure, as good, strong swimmers, right? And we happen to know how to do things that can keep us warm in the water as well, with using technology, using physics and things, you know what I mean? Is in that time you've got between now and when that ship goes down to teach as many people to swim as you can. Do you see? When the ship sinks, whether they get to shore or not, you've done your fucking bit, hopefully as well as you could do, right? But the point is that those that do get to shore, who couldn't swim before, didn't have buoyancy aids, never had the clothes that would allow them to make it, get to shore, to feel responsible for helping a few more people survive, because there's going to be people who, no matter what you teach them, no matter what they do differently, and no matter what they buy, shit's still going to come unstuck. But you guaranteed they would have come unstuck if you hadn't have helped them, if you hadn't have taught them to swim, because they wouldn't have even got to the point where they got to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The best thing it can give somebody is a chance, a fighting chance.
Yeah. And for every one person that gets to shore on my behalf, then wow, right? I'm going to leave this mortal plane feeling like, you know, when I'm standing there at the pearly gates, Mike, right, with having my entry exam, my entrance interview, I would just want to be able to say, you know, I never unalived anyone, I never harmed anyone intentionally or meaningfully, and I've saved or helped n number of people to be able to not get unalived by foreseeable events. Like Noah. It's like in my book, right? You know the bit about it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark? Yeah?
Yeah.
It's the same mindset. He says, and I can't even find the page. Where was that? Why isn't it there? Is it that? No, understanding.
Flat Cap Gaming says, "Don't rely on a rich girl on a wooden door frame," with this Titanic reference. I like that.
Yeah. Jack!
There's room for two. It's been proved there was room for two on that door.
Was it Jack? It is Jack, isn't it? Jack!
Yeah.
I can't even find the bloody... I can't even find the... what do you call it now? That's crazy. So yeah, it's an interesting one, because I think it's... in the same ways, it's very difficult to be appealing to a different broad audience of people. It's also complex because everybody's in a different situation. Some people in a one-bedroom flat, some people in a homestead compound with like 30 acres of land and live animals, you know what I mean? Some people have got no kids, some people have got 20. So I think that already makes it more complicated, which is why you need to just give them the ways to think about it and the ways to solve the problems, and then they can just solve their own versions of that problem by scaling up the principles of what you need to look at. Do you know what I mean? And I think as long as we're doing that, then you're helping the broadest number of people as possible. But the people who are specialising just in military shit, when you look at the people that are following them, it's just boys having fun doing all the stuff that they already know about.
Swinging swords around in the forest.
Yeah, that's not helping people who aren't preppers. That's not helping people who are new, who haven't been to the military, or they're female, or they're disabled, or they're vulnerable, or they've got an old lady that lives next door they care about, and they're asking me how can I do things to help her, and you know, normal shit. You know, not some like kamikaze purge mission. Yay, we get to go. And I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, Mike, that it seems to me there's two types of prepper. Yeah, it seems to be those that are all about the hunkering down and getting the best quality shutters and steel shutters and contingencies and security and everything to keep safe. And there's the other types of preppers that when they visualize the purge, they're visualizing themselves on the other side, on the ones in the street going around on a rampage. Yeah? So you just got to decide which side of them fucking shutters do you want to be. Yeah? Because I'll tell you where you last longer. Playing defense, as you all know from military background, Mike, playing defense is always more easy than playing offense. Right?
Yeah.
Especially in your own
side of me says best form of defense is attack.
Yeah, but not when you're on your own territory, in your own house, in your own property, with your own fences, and do you know what I mean? It's like
never give up the high ground. Never give up the high ground.
Exactly. So, you know, it's about, you can tell who I'm talking about as well, Mike, right? You can see their mindset is that these people are literally imagining themselves out there in the purge on the streets, the one going around in the old quad bikes with their crazy masks and shit.
Yeah, the ones that comment on your videos going, I don't need to prepare, I'm just going to turn up at your house and take your stuff. Okay, son, good luck.
Captain Caveman style, right? Yeah, I know, classic, right? I'm too old and lazy to do a rampage. Exactly. Yeah, we want to be glamping. Yeah, we're going to be glamp surviving, whatever you call that, right? Not just surviving, but we're going to be having all the funky stuff. Yeah. I like my Horori titanium teaspoon. Why buy knives to make a spoon, innit, Stevie-O? It's classic. This is what I'm saying. Where do you draw the line with technology? Because even whatever you think you're going to do from nothing, unless you're going to sit there lapping flint with a reindeer horn to make your own spearheads, to be making your own twine to then wrap onto the... Do you know what I mean? Come on.
There is prehistoric type bushcrafters out there that will try and survive like that.
You're much better off going to Amazon, getting yourself a job lot of fucking spears already made, and keep them in your cupboard. You know what I mean? It's like learning the skills to do that. It's just not realistic. And to be honest, if it gets to that point, you've got way more problems to solve than that, Mike. Let's face it. If society gets to the point where it's proper Mad Max styley, you're already on a whole new level of thing anyway. You're going to be looking at long term. You're going to be looking at building communities to start society back up again with local farming and on a scale that makes sense, that can support people, which means farm hands, which means, do you know what I mean?
I want to build the fuel tanker from Mad Max 2 as a bug out vehicle.
Yeah. Check out Turbo Conquering Mega Eagle. Never heard of it, Stevie. LBR Stella. Anyone watch Colin Furze and his bunker videos? Yes. Great videos, that is. He's done well, hasn't he, Colin Furze, with his bunker. He's done an extension now, and he can go from one part to the other and stuff.
Yeah, he's done it in the front. Play. Yeah.
If I had the budget, believe me, it'd already be built. I've got my own design, actually. It's called a Survival Den. Is a structure design that I came up with maybe 10 years ago. And it uses scaffold poles, but it can be sold as a kit that's like scalable, right? So you buy a bulk end and a bulk end, right? You got an entry-exit bulk end, and you got a regular bulk end, which has the battery banks and water filtration and storage systems in it. But then you've got sort of 1 meter sectional parts that you buy. So you go clonk, 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 and you make it as long as you want. Yeah, like a den. And it's like proper hardcore. I wouldn't say you could drive a tank over it, but that's the idea, you know? It's only small. It's the sort of thing that you build inside your existing car garage. Right, so if you've got a car garage...
Is this an above ground thing?
Yeah. So in your garage, which is already the first layer of protection with the brick walls and everything, and then in there, you've got your survival den, which is made of scaffolding, internal skeletal structure, like a roll cage of a rally car, on steroids, and fentanyl, with all the stuff carpeted inside, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, just the sheets to buy the first one. I think the quote on powder coating was 800 quid. Just powder coating. I couldn't even afford the powder coating of the scaffold poles, let alone the scaffold poles. But anyway, that's all about to change, Mike, yeah? Because obviously Sigma Prepper being monetized now, right? Look. Sheets. Right? These things are all...
next year, Rodney.
This time next year, Rodney, indeed, right? Who knows? I might even have 1,500 subscribers by then. If I'm lucky. Why do people in camouflage clothing always look so conspicuous? Yeah, that goes back to the grey man thing.
I've got camo jackets, right? I'll argue this point. Grey man, be damned, right? Because there is no such thing as grey man in full SHTF situation. If you're wandering around looking like you know what you're doing, you're a target, full stop. I'd rather be camouflaged so I can hide in a bush.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. I mean, when I take Hugo for a walk even, I've got like camo trousers and stuff on camp. But my backpack is just black. my Rush 72 pack is black. But I've got a camo cover, rain cover that goes over it, so I can make it camo if I want. But if I'm not doing that and I'm just fitting in and blending in, it's just black.
All situational dependent, right? If you're going out 3 days into SHTF to go to your local shop to spend whatever cash you've got just to top up, or to go into the FEMA truck to get some water, so you're blending in like you need it, you're gonna go wear normal clothes. But if you're bugging out, then you're going to be prepared for that. If you walk out to the local shop dressed in full NBC gear, carrying your crossbow, you're a target, obviously.
Yeah. Just keep the crossbow hidden, and you'll be all right. Oh yeah, but there is definitely a time and a place to stand out. Sometimes it could be a deterrent. Sometimes it could be attracting you. Do you know what I mean? It's like. It's a tricky one, and it's difficult to teach that. It's just something you're going to have to judge depending on your environment, how urban you are. I mean, if you live...
You could be one of these commando preppers and have full British DPM, dark green camouflage. If the shit hits the fan in the middle of a snowstorm in a whiteout, you're still going to stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Flat Cap Gaming there. Be warned, shipping containers can crumple if buried. Yeah.
Reinforce them.
Is Purple Flurple still awake or not? I think she's got work in the morning.
Regarding the shipping containers, check out. I know he's an extreme version of it, but Atlas Bunkers, the American guy. If you look at his original stuff, his early stuff, it's shipping containers, but they're all reinforced with like I-beams. And
Yeah, but it's worth telling people, don't go digging a hole in a panic and put in just... Being as stealth as possible is critical, but hiding from drones is the biggest worry. Yeah, we talked about it the other night, LBR. I don't know if you saw that show we did. Warzone Wednesday was all about drone warfare. Yeah, drone warfare tactics. So please check that out. It's linked in the description below, LBR, if you didn't see that. We got right into it with drone warfare and how to hide from it. Thermal versus SAR. Radar and stuff like that, right? So definitely check that out.
Gaming. There's contributing factors. A 20 stone bloke in camo will struggle to hide
yeah. You might just be better off hiding in plain sight, to be honest, as a trash bag. Just put a trash bag on,
trash camo thing, cool.
Yeah, just hide in plain sight, man. You'll be all right. Just a compost heap, right? Hide as a compost heap. Fucking hell. Thank you so much, everyone. So I reckon we're going to have to rock and roll, Mikey Poos, because we're supposed to be doing it after party. Yeah? And I wasn't going to plan him to be amazingly late tonight because I've got to get my body clock trained in time for Monday. Yeah, I got my urban survival adventure.
Nice.
I'm going to try doing something like streaming live at least once or twice in a controlled environment where I can't get phone snatched. Right in the middle of London, but I'm really keen to see the Christmas tree. The London Christmas tree.
Listen for moped engines nearby.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's electric bikes, isn't it, man? That's the key. Electric bikes out of getting them, just grabbing them and just zooping off. So yeah, me and our son's going. Magic Hand won't be going, unfortunately, but she's working anyway. So yeah, that's Monday. So we'll definitely be doing.
What's your get home plan if SHTF?
Fucking walking, man. We just have to follow the train tracks, to be honest, and walk home. I theoretically doing an overnight, so we'll see how that pans out as well. There is contingencies, Mike.
Do you believe in an EDC? Do you have an EDC?
Well, I'll be taking my full bag, but not with everything in it. But I'll obviously change your clothes, you know.
Yeah.
But again, whatever we take, we're gonna have to walk around London doing touristy stuff with, you know what I mean? So,
gas mask at the back.
Well, me and X will be going minimal styly, sling bag styly. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's got what used to be my Moab Rush 70, Rush 10 they call it, but it's like a sling bag by 511 Tacticals. Well expensive, man. And I gave that to him as a birthday because it was brand new. I used to use that as our mixed martial arts bag, like to put our gloves and shin pads and shit in. You know what I mean? And then that's all we used it for. And it's like £200 bag just to take to mixed martial arts classes twice a week was a bit much. But it was actually because my 511 Tactical Rush 72 bag, it's a modular one. It clips to the back of that if I want.
Yeah.
But he owns that now. And I wish it was still mine because that would be perfect for Monday. That's what I'm thinking. So we're going to be jumping into the after party. Yeah. Public after party. Don't forget, this is usually only for the VIP Patreon members. We have the after parties for the either the YouTube members or the Patreon members getting access to the VIP rooms. So we'll be jumping in up until Christmas, though. We're doing publicly, so even if you're not supporting the show financially, you'll still gain access to the after parties that we're going to be doing tonight. But it won't be an epically long one till 6 a.m. UK time, 1 a.m. Eastern time, as it has been in the past. But we will still be having a right laugh over there. I am absolutely gagging for a cup of tea. How about you, Mike? Are you thirsty?
Been staring at an empty cup for the last half hour. I'm not even on camera, and I've been doing the fake drink thing.
Oh, really? I know. It's just like,
I keep forgetting it's empty.
I know. I'm gagging. So thank you to everyone. Absolutely. Daily Survival. Thank you to each and every one of you for helping the show out. I really appreciate you. You're such a wonderful bunch. Thank you, Mike. Daily Survivals, pop your channel up here.
99 votes on your poll before you forget.
Fuck me, you are a master. Thank you. Told you, right? When this time next year, Rodney, right? I'll have budgets and shit. UK Urban Prepper channel. Look, so in the link, and he's easy to find as well when you search UK Urban Prepper, and it's been great having you on as a guest, man. It's always lovely to have someone to bounce off and vice versa, right? So 99 votes. Can we? Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get your vote. Last vote in. Let's see if we can make it 100 votes. If you haven't voted in the live chat already, please do, because we're going to be taking the snapshot of the results for our live poll, which is going something like this. Which of these bad omens would make you reconsider an important decision if you're superstitious? Broken mirror, walking under a ladder, Friday 13th, it's the 14th now, isn't it? None of them. I make my own fate. So they were your options tonight, and you got a few. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get to 100. I think most people have voted who were there already. We'll all screenshot it now just in case. That is how it stands.
There is no fate but what we make.
We didn't do...
What's that film?
We didn't what, sorry?
There is no fate but what we make. What film is that from?
There is no fate but what we make. I'm not sure if that sounds familiar.
Sarah Connor carves it into the table.
Oh, very good. Yeah, definitely got me on that one. I'm deleting the screenshot, Michael. I'm doing it again because we did indeed get 100 votes. Yay!
No, Chaos got Terminator.
As a contingency, I had to take a screenshot. I got 99 in case there was no takers. Poll results. Let's paste that in there. Just done a screenshot for those that are watching this afterwards and not seeing it live, because you won't see the live chat, the live poll. Which of these bad omens would make you reconsider an important decision? Look at all the Sigma preppers in the house. Yeah, none of them. I make my own fate, 100%. That's why we're all here, innit, Mike? Eh? Although
7 people that walked under a ladder.
Yeah, well, that makes it easier because that's why I wanted to be 100 votes, because literal percentage means that number of people, doesn't it? Which is nice.
Yeah.
We don't get that very often. There's 100, says Blackback Gaming. Yeah, it's been great, and it's lovely to be able to sort of get a collective view of sort of how they feel about stuff, and it's important. As I did admit to, though, with I've got little sentimental things like my Sigma pendant, which were going to be gifts that will be given away as part of other things for the show. I've got a digital version which has got a circuit board in the back, but it's going to be too difficult to reproduce for anyone other than myself. But
I want a ring.
Maybe this time next year when there's budgets, Mike.
Yep. When there's budgets, I want a ring. Have you seen my giant Terminator ring? I need something to offset the other hand.
Excellent. So, Chaos is with us as well. Terminator, look, he had it. Chaos had it. Terminator. Yeah, we didn't even do the quotes tonight, Mike. I had quotes and I had memes. So we're going to have to be doing it all over again tomorrow at some point. So we can do the quotes, the memes, or probably just do a global threat analysis or something like that. We'll find an excuse. I do want to go back to try and continue my daily videos until the new year was my original plan. I seem to have got to the stage of getting over the 1,000 subscriber and the monetization mark, and it's like, oh, I'm just exhausted from 3 years of slogging. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like take a couple of days off. But it's been so much admin to sort out as a result of that, and getting all the Google payment system sorted. I've had to do some verification stuff. I've had to go through like 4 non-monetizable videos to dispute them as well, and messing around.
Don't ever underestimate some time for R&R.
Isn't it?
It'll make it come back even better.
Thank you so much, everyone. So are you coming into the after party for a bit, Mike, after the show, over on a Discord server?
Mrs. Urban Prepper's gone to bed, so I'm not.
Yeah, I think my Mrs. Urban Prepper would have. My Mrs. Sigma Prepper, sorry, would have gone to bed as well. My Mrs. Urban Prepper. What have you been doing, my missus, behind my back, Drew? Nothing. I ain't done nothing. Yeah, I think I think Magic Hands fully asleep at this point. But it's been lovely having you with us, man. We're going to be catching up in the after party anyway. For those that would just want to join us, you know where to go. We'll be in there straight after the show. Thank you, Chaos. Really appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a wonderful time today. Thank you, Mike. You've been absolutely wonderful friend on the show, and appreciate your insights and things.
Can I just say thank you to everyone who's joined, and don't forget to keep sharing Drew's channel out there. It should be a lot bigger than it is now, and we'll get it there if we work together.
Thank you, my man. Equally for you as well, Mike. I really love what you're doing, and yeah, excellent. Thank you again. Thank you, Robert. Thank you all the super chatterers. It's been a wonderful time having you all here. I wasn't even sure if I was even going to do a show today, and here we are. So please hit the like button if you haven't done already. I've been Drew the Sigma Prepper. You've been a bunch of wonderful, absolute, wonderful meisters. Love, peace, and progress. To the back.
Reject the herd, prepare the pack. Click the like button, it's as easy as that. Check the description for the links you need. Follow my socials, subscribe to my feed. From a single lone woman to a family of 5. Learn from Sigma Prepper and see how you can thrive. We understand the risks that tomorrow could bring. We adapt and survive, it's a wolf pack thing. Reject the herd, prepare the pack. Click the like button, it's as easy as that. Check the description for the links you need. Follow my socials, subscribe to my feed.